Greetings, fellow Toriyama fans. Blue Dragon 5 here.
And Jacob Weil.
To pay tribute to the master of manga, Akira Toriyama, and celebrate 40 years of Dragon Ball proper, we're going through the animated saga that is Dragon Ball Z to get back in touch with our anime roots as we begin our journey into Dragon Ball Z.
Previously on Journey into Dragon Ball Z, Dragon and Jacob concluded Goku's original journey with the defeat of Majin Buu. However, wishing to see more, they summoned Shenron, the Eternal Dragon. With their wish granted, we now witness Goku's more cinematic adventures move from the small screen and into the movies. That's right, folks. We're kind of breaking our tradition a little bit here.
Little bit. We're starting to get into uncharted territory, kids. The last vestiges of Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah. We're going into the more cinematic feature-length adventures.
Well, feature length in quotes, but feature length for a Japanese audience for sure.
Well, I mean, Dragon, I'm sure even for even Japanese audiences have feature lengths that are longer than this.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they have better things to do, so it's like, we're on a schedule, keep it short. This is our new feature length, which that's something the American films could learn from, but I'm just saying.
I know, but usually over there, they still...
Like, that would be James Cameron's worst nightmare. You're on Toei time right now, Jimmy, okay, you gotta make it 50 minutes, not 3 hours.
Well, I know we're just joking here, but there are a lot of very long Japanese movies.
Like, oh no, I know.
Look at any film made by Akira Kurosawa.
That's the thing.
So,
James Cameron's like, what about Kurosawa? This is, oh no. We're talking Toriyama, not Kurosawa.
All right, so Dragon, why don't you? You may be wondering why we didn't cover the Dragon Ball movies. Well, first thing, there's only 3. And Dragon, why don't you go into why we didn't do the original 3 movies?
All right, folks. So so a couple things to go over with our parameters here. So we're covering basically the original set of movies, specifically Dragon Ball Z, with one exception. So I guess long story short, it's basically what we're talking about here, we have not covered like the more recent, like, Dragon Ball Super-esque releases, because those are going to maybe go hand in hand with some future stuff we won't be getting to for a while, but that's kind of why we're not covering those now. This is just more of like specifically the ones that were released kind of theatrically and kind of the original bunch, and we only covered, of the Dragon Ball movies, we only covered the the one that had Stephanie Nadolny doing the voice of Goku, which was Path to Power. To my knowledge, Nadolny never did the dub for the other Dragon Ball movies.
No, they did. Goku was voiced by someone else in those.
Yeah, which was always weird to me, and it was always a thing where even with another anime we may or may not be getting to, there was a movie that does not have the Funimation crew. Now, to be fair, I think Nadolny was the only exception. I want to say everyone else came back, I think. I'm not sure, because it's been forever since I've seen Curse of the Blood Rubies. And that was the only one, honestly, of those original Dragon Ball ones I had the ability to see when I was a kid. Beyond, with the from the other Dragon Ball movies.
And the thing is with Funimation technically dubbed Curse of the Blood Rubies twice.
Yeah.
For the first time, he was called Zero, and voiced by Saffron Henderson, and then Funimation in 2010 was done by Colleen Clinkenbeard, because at that point I think that they recast Nadolny.
Yeah, which I always hated that they recast Nadolny, and it was like the one flaw of the Kakarot game for me. It's like the one real flaw is like, if she was in it, it would be perfect.
And as for Sleeping Princess in the Devil's Castle and Mystical Adventure, Goku was voiced in Funimation by Sally Delgadillo.
Okay, the point being, it's not Nadolny, and that was kind of a deal breaker. That, along with the fact we're mainly focused on Dragon Ball Z and Path to Power, which we're going to basically end with, is kind of, it's kind of a tribute to Dragon Ball in total, and frankly, it's it's pretty good, and it would have felt wrong to keep it off. So that one might be more of a footnote, but we got to cover it.
And also kind of a bridge into something else.
Exactly. So it's kind of it's sort of a middle ground. We kind of needed it. So there's the point being there was some merit for talking about it. That's why we included that. But everything else is Dragon Ball Z, and again, basically circa to the point where Super became a thing. That's kind of what the whole idea is with the movies here. So we found a way of talking about to cover all the parameters. We were unsure if we were going to cover the movies, and ultimately we decided, let's go for it. Let's just kind of say let's squeeze every drop of Dragon Ball Z out that we can. So there you go.
There are certain things in the Dragon Ball franchise that we will probably not go over, but
yeah.
But
again, because basically I have nostalgia for I've seen all these movies growing up, so I knew these movies, and it felt like Jacob, you experienced a lot of these movies, if not all of them, for the first time.
Pretty much. I think pretty much all of them I've experienced for the first, not counting like some of the stuff that they did for Abridged, which is I did experience some of these through Abridged, but you are right. This is pretty much my time seeing the legitimate ones for the first time.
Just think of Jacob as as Oolong. He's our guinea pig for Dragon Ball Z sometimes.
Fair enough.
All right, so my overall thoughts just on the movies, just across the board. So I had very nostalgic ties to the movies. The main reason being they were the easiest to get a hold of, and still to this day, these are the ones you can track down pretty easily. At least I think they release them in sets now, but I'm saying historically these were, they sold the heck out of these movies, and these are the ones that you can get pretty reliably in terms of the release. Versus the show itself, which is a whole can of worms.
Yep.
Not that you can't find the show, but you can't find the show the way you remembered it. That's the hard part. So, but yeah, that's the thing. I would get these movies because it was at the time where I was kind of like, again, I was desperate for Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball was a little harder to come by. But the movies, they were easy and they were everywhere. So that was kind of how Z was kind of permeating into things as well, like the home video releases and the movies being easiest to get a hold of. And the marathon, I would I marathon the movies, and that's kind of what they were designed for, and that's kind of how I had with Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. Batman. This was at a point in time, like I said, usually with my love affair with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, is that Dragon Ball was there when Batman was not readily available in home video, or at least not the way in which you could watch through a whole season. It was like you had maybe a disc you get a hold of, and then the movies. So in that respect, that's kind of what I was dealing with Dragon Ball Z and such, where you had the movies and you watched them and you kind of forged kind of an attachment to them. And again, the show release was like a scavenger hunt for individual DVDs and volumes and so on and so forth, but not the movies. So it has been forever since the clips have always circulated. The clips, people again remember the movies and they post clips all the time, but looking back on the movies, from start to finish, just watching through them all again, gotta be honest, it wasn't a glowing rewatch. I noticed patterns I never really noticed before because I've never had to really marathon them, for decades. So they don't hold a candle to the show. I can say that easily. They're pretry much. They draw off one battle with a gimmicky threat, and most of Toei was basically they were guesstimating from the manga. That's essentially what Toei was pretty much doing here. They didn't have the manga to work off of Toei would do filler and to fill in the blanks and to kind of pad out the episodes, and to degrees of success. Sometimes very fillery, sometimes the driving episode, which we love.
Yep.
And this was an example of Toei really had no guardrails here. And ultimately, in the making of these, what happened was the point of these films and making them films and releasing them theatrically and taking them to kind of conventions and stuff at the time they were released was, it was to advertise the show and the arcs. And basically, we're not going to show you what the actual arcs are because then, well, we've shown you already. We want you to watch the show, so we're going to give you an approximation. So that's why a lot of these are kind of either similar story beats or similar threats, but not the exact threats, not the exact story beats. They're just to give you a taste of I would like more of this, but better. And lo and behold, we had more of this and better at the ready and at the wait. So that's kind of what the design of the movies were. And I feel looking back on them, like again, so overall, it's totally guesstimating from the manga, and only Broly was like the only one of these things that really stuck and ended up actually being in the manga. Well, kind of in the manga and then kind of readapted years later. So Broly was like the only one with state power because he basically was the Venom of Dragon Ball Z. So over time, I think the movies, looking at them kind of stacked, kind of all 14 of them. I think over time, they, for the most part, they got better. Even if they all ended up being non-canon. So I feel like it was kind of a learn as they went kind of a thing. I don't know how true that is, but I mean, I think a lot of the later ones towards the tail end were my favorites. So I'm definitely the ones I have more positive nostalgia for, and I think there's a lot more nice things to say about the later ones than the early ones. But again, ultimately, it's all non-canon. They're all really in that weird space because they have nothing really to do with the main story. And as a kid, being a fan, you're watching, and it's like, oh wait, how does this fit into here? If this is happening, I mean, that happened before that happened. So again, it's always just kind of like, it's just Dragon Ball. It's dim sum for the brain.
From what I understand, like one of them, like the official like magazines and things like that, literally said that one of them was so hard to place they just declared like it had to take place in an alternate dimension.
Exactly.
I think it was specifically like I think it was like Android 13 or something like that they said like there's no way to actually reconcile it in the actual timeline.
Yeah.
Whereas at least with others they could at least somewhat try.
Yeah.
So
basically, if Cell took forever to show up, then maybe Super Android 13 happened. It's unclear.
Yeah.
All right.
So I honestly I guess don't have as much to say as Dragon does when it comes to my experience with these. Like since this is my first time, and I will say I did enjoy a fair amount of aspects of these. A lot. I was honestly with some of them I was kind of glad that they weren't over an hour long. Ultimately, but I will say that some of the early ones and definitely some of the later ones, I think they kind of like found a good groove that ultimately worked. But there are also some where they definitely don't, right, Dragon?
Oh yeah.
And we'll get to those.
Again, there's a lot of them, folks. We're going to try not to take forever because some I think there's a lot more to say than others, and overall, there's not a lot that happens in these movies. So we're going to see what happens.
Especially when a lot of them, half of the movie is just the characters hitting each other.
Yeah.
Which isn't always a bad thing, but
all right, so let's start breaking it down. So here's one we've already kind of talked about within the Garlic Jr. saga. We're gonna briefly cover Dead Zone.
yeah, Dead Zone. I didn't actually rewatch it for this because I kind of remember. But Dead Zone, I actually did say I kind of enjoyed.
Yeah, and again, like Dead Zone, to its credit, is pretty much the only one of these to really, make it into the show itself. To actually count in the series, even though it doesn't fully line up. It's like Garlic Jr. We established this, we acknowledge these events. So Dead Zone is the only one that technically made the cut. So we got to give it credit where credit's due. But it's yeah, I really like it for the fact it had a cinematic flair. It strikes the tone of the Dragon Ball Z story with a cinematic flair, and I think something that we really never really hit until we hit in like certain beats here and there, but we never really kind of recaptured the feeling of towards the end of our lineup here with the movie. So I always have to say they really were hitting it pretty dead on with Dead Zone at the start, even though it was a rehash of the Saiyan Saga's beginnings.
And again, he's still one of the villains who actually managed to get his wish.
Yeah, which again, another thing you gotta give Garlic Jr. credit for.
It's like it ultimately ended up biting him in the butt, but he did succeed. Even like I said, it did cause continuity issues, considering that the Dragon Balls were perfectly fine by the time the series began, and even this takes place before the Saiyan Saga, technically.
Yeah.
And then but when the Saiyan Saga begins, everyone's acting like, wait, Goku as a kid?
Exactly. So
even though if this movie's meant, but then which originally could work if the movie is treated as like a side adventure,
Yeah.
But then the series itself incorporated Garlic Jr. into it. So
The show basically retcons this movie as it sees fit. Where okay, there was an adventure of Garlic Jr. He made his wish and he got sealed away. That's all we need to know.
yep. So and like
So
and like I said, I actually enjoyed both Dead Zone and the Garlic Jr. saga. It was like a kind of a, especially coming on the heels of the Frieza saga.
I think I had massive nostalgia for Dead Zone because I think I regaled you with this story. Like I won the money for it at a racetrack so I could get it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and anyway, so look, well, I guess not for the first time I saw, but like for the release that had the DVD commentary, which is like the only Dragon Ball Z movie ever to have commentary, which was kind of a win for me.
Uh-huh.
So that thing. So I want to establish a pattern here that we're going to basically be kind of talking about the other movies, and then we'll move on here. Is that again? So we're taking story beats from the again from the main from the main Dragon Ball Z kind of lore, even Dragon Ball in some cases. We're taking we're basically readapting the story, or at least stealing, pretty much just outright stealing story beats or story points, and just recycling kind of plot points from Dragon Ball Z. And again, most of the films kind of do that. So we're kind of really we're borrowing heavily from the show because again, it feels like there's a lot of lazy. One could argue there's a lot of lazy writing in that respect, or the writing on a big deadline. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Again, this one though, I think it's kind of like this one's a gimme, but everything else though, I think later on they're more egregious examples. Oh man, they're stealing outright because they don't have any better ideas. Okay, next up.
The world's strongest.
So a lot of these very thin plot wise. This one as well. This one's kind of like what if Dr. Giro's computer had a robot body. That's kind of the gist of this one with Dr. Wheelo, the genius Dr. Wheelo, who's basically a big brain and a robot.
And his idea is to place his brain into the world's strongest warrior.
Yeah, which is Goku.
Yes. And it does kind of begin with an interesting change of locales with Oolong and Gohan searching for the Dragon Balls in the Arctic.
Now that's something we got to give points to these movies for as well. Again, so I mentioned when we were covering Dragon Ball Z that even like towards the tail end of Dragon Ball, Oolong's presence kind of dwindles, but it kind of dawns on me now looking at this and kind of putting the pieces together that it feels like Toei loved Oolong because Oolong was padding city, man. You could pad as much as you wanted with that pig. And that's kind of what we're allowed to do in these movies here. Okay, well we need Gohan to be somewhere he would never be. Why is he there? Well, Oolong's taking him on an adventure in the Arctic. I think maybe looking for the Dragon Balls.
And for some reason, Piccolo is there too.
Yeah. So we have an Oolong and Gohan misadventure. So I like that we're getting a lot of use out of Oolong, and in some places some good use. So it's so good.
And to give credit, there's not a lot of interaction in Dragon Ball Z between Gohan and Oolong.
Yeah, which again is another kind of is harkening back to classic Dragon Ball with Goku and Oolong. So it's nice.
It's like, yep. Strangely enough, we didn't get a lot of Puar.
Yeah. Well, again, Puar is always a package deal with Yamcha. That's why no one wants to do anything with Yamcha.
Yep.
So we got to mention this too. So there's a running theme with a lot of these early movies, especially of the friendship. And again, this is just more speaking to like one of the big tent poles of why people love Dragon Ball Z. Everyone loves Piccolo, and more so, people love Piccolo and Gohan's bond, friendship, and dynamic. The non-biological father that is Piccolo. And I love that throughout a lot of these, we give Piccolo cowboy entrances. Like he comes in, saves the day, and saves Gohan like a cowboy. And he has like these grand entrances in all these movies, and I love that. He has the John Wayne entrance so often.
And then they later give that to Vegeta.
Yeah, which is great.
Yep, but and even though a lot of times they don't even build up the fact that that they're in the movie until they show up.
Yeah.
So
we have Goku fighting. So a few things. The thing about World Strongest that I love. Master Roshi gets an action sequence where he takes on like 3 of the bioengineered warriors.
Like at least up front, as we can, at least with like Dead Zone, World's Strongest, and even a bit of the movie afterward, they were at least trying to do like an original villains.
little fun fact: one of the openings of I think the what is it? Wake the Dragon. Is that?
Rock the Dragon.
Yeah, Rock the Dragon. Yeah, the Rock the Dragon song. The iteration of the opening is Rock the Dragon. They use a lot of clips from the movies.
Yeah, like it's just like, hey, the show's animation looks like this.
Yeah.
So
Then again, that's the thing. That was what the point of it was. These movies were really to advertise the show, and so they they cannibalized it as much as they could, and vice versa.
yeah.
So anyway, so Master Roshi had a great.
And to be fair, that was more on the U.S. side of things than Toei actually doing it themselves.
Oh, sure. I'm just saying, kind of like what the kind of the commercial purpose was, but yeah.
Because Toei used the same intro and outro throughout the series, and they didn't re-edit that. That was more like, I don't know if it was. I don't think it was Funimation doing it yet, but it might have been when Ocean was doing it.
Probably. Anyway, so again, Roshi taking on the three is like, I just love that it was a reminder of the end. Roshi used to be really cool. It's like Jackie Chan and everything, and obviously all the secrets that guy has beyond like kind of the the comedic relief kind of thing.
And I do kind of love how they explained why they abducted Master Roshi, because Dr. Wheelo had been in ice for so long, and when he was trapped in ice, Master Roshi was the world's strongest warrior.
Made a lot of sense. He's going there to save Bulma and everything. Just a lot of really makes a lot of it makes sense. Also, we have Goku fighting the mind-controlled Piccolo, which is creepy.
Yep. Like I said, at least with like these early movies, they did try and do like original plots and villains for the most part.
Well, at least for the first two out of the gate.
Yeah.
So also we gotta talk. Here's another thing to keep track of with these movies. I guess Piccolo gets the cowboy entrance. Like the Piccolo Gohan friendship is always throughout all these movies very well showcased. I love the bond with those guys, and I love I love when Piccolo saves Gohan and Gohan cares about Piccolo. It makes you all warm and fuzzy, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So we have, again, Piccolo's entrances. We have like the rehashed, like a rehashed element of some kind. Now, again, this one's a little less. This is just more of like kind of a vague Jiro comparison. But I'm saying he built kind of warriors to fight. Again, that one's more of a loose connection. So this one is not as guilty as other things are. Here's something it is guilty of, though. This is the beginning of it.
Didn't this come out before Jiro, though?
Well, I'm saying the manga had been out before this, though.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
I don't know because the movie came out in '90.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I want to say. I'm trying to remember if all the Dragon Ball volumes came out.
I have no idea. We don't need to.
Well, I'm saying it might have been through the '80s. That's why I'm unsure. The point, because Dead Zone was in '89, so. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, the point. The point being, regardless, Jiro or no Jiro, I'm just saying it's like later on we do things that are actually linked to that story, so we don't have to worry about it quite yet. Well, we do start, however, this one gets on my nerves, especially when you marathon them. The Spirit Bomb.
Yeah, they do.
This was the most egregious thing these movies ever did. They overused the Spirit Bomb. It was just, again, we have to use a signature move besides the Kamehameha wave, and we have no ideas.
And Dragon, it's like used several times throughout the movies. How many times again was it used in the actual series?
3 times. 3-act structure. 3 times. Vegeta, Frieza, and Buu.
Yep. 3.
3 times, and again, here it's used constantly. And here's the thing. I think Abridged had this hilarious joke, by the way, when they did like Abridged for for the Buu saga. Just like Vegeta saying, again, even just with 3 times, is saying, use the Spirit Bomb, didn't work. Use the Spirit Bomb again, still didn't work. But it's gonna work this time, kind of.
Yep.
So it's the fact that these times he used the Spirit Bomb, and I don't think I think it's a similar thing. I don't think it ultimately. I really don't think it works, or it doesn't work on its own, at least.
Yep.
All right, so he used the Spirit Bomb, and again, I think ultimately Piccolo and Gohan have to defeat the guy after he used the Spirit Bomb. So chalk that one up, folks. If there's a drinking game with our conversation here tonight, it's going to be the Spirit Bomb. It's going to be Piccolo and or Vegeta having a cool entrance, and it's going to be what Dragon Ball plotline have we rehashed this time. Those are the 3 drinking game elements, the milkshake elements.
Well, it's like Wheelo interrupts him. Goku his allies distract him, and he launches the bomb and then kills Wheelo.
Yeah.
And apparently Krillin shows up as well.
Yeah.
So he just comes in unannounced.
Yeah.
So
That brings us to one of the least impressive entries in all these movies.
the Tree of Might.
Yeah, honestly, of all these movies, no joke. I mean, Tree of Might was always one of the most forgettable. It was only memorable for the uncreative choice of bad guy.
Turles.
Just the fact that, like, oh my god, we're literally using Goku as the bad guy. He's just Turles is essentially he's our Diet Shasta Cola.
I mean,
Vegeta slash Raditz. It's essentially what
I mean that, and which as Super proved later, an evil Goku can absolutely work.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the problem. Okay, that one was very deliberate. This one, by sheer coincidence, he's not a relative. He just happens like a doppelganger. It's like, really? Like in the odds of the cosmos, his father looks exactly like him. That makes sense, but Turtles just happens to be a doppelganger. We don't really draw a lot of attention to it because. And here's the thing: like, he's the only say, and the rest of them are. And this is another thing: our henchmen are often basically fill-ins for the Ginyu Force. Like, basically their parodies are like, it's not the Ginyu Force, but it's the next best thing. They're the stunt doubles for the Ginyu Force.
And his plan is to use. Well, and this is apparently the movie that also introduces Icarus the dragon.
So that is the one thing we get from this. We get Icarus the dragon, who again then that gets better stuff to do over time. But this is like, we introduce him because there's like an environmental message, and the forest gets burned down, etc., etc.
Even though that kind of gets broken when the main threat of the movie is also a tree.
Yeah, that was so. The whole idea that the tree is going to like cannibalize the like drain the life from the planet so it can produce fruit. Just not really not a great plot.
Yep, and apparently that's one reason why a bridge turned it into a Christmas episode.
That's funny.
Like they called it, they turned it into Christmas Tree of Might.
That's hilarious.
And they said it's like one of the best. One of the voice actors, one of the actors of that, even said like one of the favorite things they've ever done.
Yeah, I gotta look into that now. It's too good to pass up. I gotta look into that now.
It is, from what I understand, it is very funny.
Okay, so two things to note here. Okay, another runner. Toei seems to have a fascination with camping. They have a love fest for Goku camping.
I mean, camping is pretty neat, and I can understand why Goku would appreciate camping, considering he did used to live in the woods.
Well, yeah, no, I have no problem with Goku camping, and like I said, you're right, that makes sense for him. But the fact that we do it a few times.
Yeah, I do later, I think it was like, wasn't it one of the? I forget the movie, but I remember it's like, Goku, what's more important?
Yeah, no, I know that's we'll get there. That's in Cooler's Revenge.
Yeah, I guess we'll get to that then.
Yeah.
But here we just see them enjoying themselves and having a good time with camping. And then a forest fire breaks out, and then they actually use Shenron kind of responsibly here. They wish the forest restoration.
No, I mean, look, that's nice, but it's just the fact that we're going to do that, and then we're going to endanger everything again with the Tree of Might. Ultimately, our rehash this time it's a blatant rehash of the Saiyan saga. Where Turtles shows up, and I think Gohan turns into the Great Ape form. It's a lot of rinse and repeat.
Yep, they do the move that Vegeta did and creates the artificial moon, which makes Gohan become an ape.
Yep, and Goku keeps using the Spirit Bomb and it fails.
It's like Goku confronts Turtles underneath the tree roots and blasts them directly, launching up the tree and destroying both of them.
I do love Piccolo has a great cowboy entrance in this though when he saves Gohan. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So ultimately, Goku, after the Spirit Bomb fails, he eats the fruit and he wins. It's like a quick draw blast almost. It's not even he does all that and eats the fruit, just blasts the guy, and he's done.
Yep. So Turles is kind of undone by his own, hoist by his own petard.
Yeah.
And Turtle's name, by the way, is I think a Japan like a way to spell like the inverse of lettuce in Japanese.
Yeah, which again, just come on.
I mean, well, that's again, it is kind of continuing the Saiyans being named
No, I
after.
know, I know. That's good though. I mean, they're keeping that alive. I get that, but it's just like really, we're all right.
Lettuce.
Lettuce.
Well, Goku's name is Kakarot.
No, look, that's great. It's just saying like another Saiyan bad guy. That's what I'm saying. So we have a Saiyan.
That's what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's just like we don't need a Saiyan bad guy for this plot. That's the thing. We're not even going to do anything with it. Why are we why are we so uncreative here? And it really makes me wonder though. Now, because now you have me wondering about it with the production cycles. If this was unfolding when Dragon Ball Z was unfolding itself production wise and just with the manga, it just makes me wonder if is that all we had to really adapt and work from at this point in time.
Yeah, no idea.
Did we just think about it? We have 3 movies that essentially are the same, though. 2 of them are the Saiyan saga.
Again, the world's strongest and Trinity of Might both came out in the same year.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Okay, that brings us to
Lord Slug.
I got a soft spot for this one. I don't think it hold. I don't. Of the original films, like the very I guess. Look, ultimately with these movies, you can kind of say they're in 3 phases, right? Like phase 1, I would say is like from Dead Zone to, I'd say from Dead Zone to Cooler's Revenge is the original. Maybe Return of Cooler, but let's just say for argument's sake, from Dead Zone to Cooler's Revenge, that's like phase 1. Phase 2 is like Return of Cooler, Super Android 13 until probably BoJack Unbound. Like that's phase 2, and then Broly Sen coming onwards. That's where your 3rd phase is.
Okay.
That's just me kind of laying it. That's kind of in my own head. That's kind of where I've always kind of chopped them up in the 3s. And of the original 1, 2, 3, 4, of the original 5, Lord Slug I feel was one of the most unique, and it felt just again it had kind of like it had a little bit of what Dead Zone had with it, which was kind of that cinematic vibe. I mean, this basically, if Dead Zone's like that one feels like the most cinematic of these original 5 movies. But Lord Slug feels like a great direct-to-video,
Yep.
So it had. I think again one of the best of the early attempts. It's basically Dragon Ball Z's rehash of the Demon King Piccolo saga, which of course I love the Demon King Piccolo saga.
It is kind of interesting to see that kind of arc retold in Z.
Yeah, so that was interesting. So basically, long story short, an ancient evil Namekian gathers Dragon Balls to regain his youth. Sound familiar?
It is kind of interesting that they try to hide the fact that he's Namekian.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of obvious, like, oh wait, he's a Namekian.
Oh yeah. So they terraform the planet in the process, which is kind of a cool idea, and just seeing them kind of succeed at that. We have some interesting. Again, this assortment, at least they're not just the Ginyu Force. Again, these guys are kind of unique. Like the Leech guy, he was again kind of a weird, just a really bizarre design.
Yeah, but at least they're unique and they kind of stand out a bit. They do kind of harken back as we talked about, as we just mentioned, to Piccolo's army.
Oh yeah, a little bit of cymbal, tambourine, kind of
drum. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. So we're gonna add some oolong stuff in this one as well. So Piccolo and Gohan, we have a bit that some people really hated. Some people, I like it. Some people really hate it. The whole gag of I just love like the casual kind of humor with Piccolo and Gohan, where like
Gohan is playing his flute.
Well, no, he's whistling.
Whistling, right? That's later. Like he's whistling, and then Piccolo just can't stand it.
Yeah, because he has super hearing, so he has the big Namekian ears, and we've established he can hear very well. So the idea with the high pitched whistling is really irritating to him. And
although this is the only time where it's actually a weakness.
Yeah, which again, it's a movie convenience, so it's not really a weakness for him. Otherwise, just for the sake of this movie, for our 3rd act, we need to establish Namekians hate whistling.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I love the Piccolo Gohan bond. It's just the idea, like the kind of the crotchety old, kind of kind of older guy, just like saying like it's nuts. The whistle, the whistling and dancing's fine, kid. It's just my ears, like it hurts my ears. So it's just it's really nice to see Piccolo cares for Gohan. Like during the action, he's really worried about the kid.
And it was pretty weird seeing Piccolo tearing off his ears.
Yeah, that was kind of the metal thing of this movie. Oh my god, tore off his ears, and we have the giant again. The fact that we have a giant Namekian, which we haven't had since Drake, that's the cool part of this movie. The fact that we're seeing like a Namekian go giant.
Since Piccolo himself
I know.
went giant for the martial arts tournament.
Yeah, yeah, and the whole like Piccolo's messing with the antennas, and then he rips off his own ears, telling Gohan to do his whistling.
And that's what defeats him.
Well, kind of. I mean, it contributes to it, but you're right. Ultimately, that's what defeats it. But we had a lot of
how does Goku end up defeating Lord Slug after all that?
You guessed it. So first of all, we have a non-canon Super Saiyan thing where he kind of turns Super Saiyan, but not all the way, and it's not really the Kaioken, but it's weird.
And it was I think it was like before they decided. Well, I think it was before that Toriyama actually showed what the Super Saiyan was.
Yeah, probably.
And what it actually looked like, and so they had to go like this like fake Super Saiyan.
Yep, kind of an in-between between the Kaioken and the Super Saiyan. So then we have Goku using the Spirit Bomb, and then he tries running through Lord Slug like he did Demon King Piccolo, and he almost achieves all of these things. But then I forget if the ear thing is literally what defeats him, or this is a combination of all these methods that Goku used to defeat him. Yeah, all we know is the Spirit Bomb yet again did not work.
Someone tally every time we say Spirit Bomb.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be saying it a lot.
Yep.
And it's healthier than taking a drink.
Yeah.
So Lord Slug was pretty fun, if not for this, if only for the connection to Demon King Piccolo and Piccolo himself.
Pretty much, yeah. He had presence though. That guy was intimidating.
He was. And I think while the next villain is also derivative, I think they did enough with him in this movie, in his own first movie, to make him stand out.
Yeah. So next up,
Cooler's Revenge.
So such a confusing. I'm with you. As a kid, such a confusing title. Just the idea of revenge and return, but you have to. So they're having to again. They both sound like sequel titles, and technically he's a continuation villain, so that's why. But it's just the fact that you have to factor in. Okay, he's getting revenge, and then he returns for more revenge.
Yes, and the first time he's getting revenge for the death of his brother.
Okay, so the best part of Cooler's Revenge to me, I love the opening and the kind of the irony in his defeat. The idea that we flash back to Frieza destroying Planet Vegeta, and we tie in, Bardock, father of Goku. We tie in, Bardock's big death, and the fact that while that's happening, Goku's pod was passing by. He was like the last survivor of Planet Vegeta, almost.
And Cooler and one of Cooler's men tries to kill it. He's like, oh please, that is Frieza. That is Frieza's territory. Like, if he's too lazy to do it, I'm not going to clean up after his mess.
So again, I love that, and I love that. That's like it's that little oversight.
He's definitely like his brother, but and the reveal that Frieza has a brother, which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it hits a lot of the same beats that the Frieza saga does, but in much less time.
Yeah, so so again, to the movie's credit, we retroactively we're adding kind of a new spoke to the wheel of the main story, which is something a lot of the movies are really just removed from that continuity, and people like Cooler, and the fact that Cooler came back kind of speaks to something there.
Cooler actually is a pretty neat villain, and I don't know how in depth they're going to be, but his fourth form was actually really pretty cool.
Oh no, for sure, it was a really neat design.
Oh yeah, he was huge, intimidating, and pushed everyone to their limits.
Everyone always forgot that Frieza's second transformation, right? He's technically his first transformation from his base form was when he basically looked a lot like his father, King Cold. That transformation, that was like an underrated kind of transformation, and this is kind of like the even better version of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think Cooler was pun intended a kind of cool villain
Yeah.
In Cooler's Revenge.
I mean, here's the thing: Cooler in concept works really well, and in the action, when he's actually fighting Goku, works pretty well. The guy shows up; he's kind of avenging his brother. It's pretty neat. The guy has this ego, which is again what allowed Goku to kind of flourish. So he's kind of tied into Goku. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, he's really tied into Goku's origin. So there's something kind of interesting about Cooler in that regard. But he doesn't really. Again, the fact that there's a lot of build up to when he's actually dirtying his hands and getting involved in the story. So Cooler's a very passive character because of that. So there's not a lot to him when you really put him under a microscope.
Yeah, but I still think I still think the actual fight is more creative than some of the later ones we got.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And for once, he wasn't actually defeated using a spirit bomb.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like Goku, like after powering up to Saiyan and getting chi from all the others, was basically blasted out of the earth and towards the sun. It's like, wait a minute, that's the sun. I'm heading right towards it. And then he's like, wait a minute, that's Saiyan. I could have killed him 20 years ago.
So that's what I'm saying. That's my favorite part of the movie is the realization in his last moments of what that's great. The problem is a lot of these Dragon Ball Z movies, they kind of flounder at the very end. This movie did not have that problem.
It basically had a good like bookend kind of in a way, like where he realized like, wait a minute, I could have done this 20 years ago,
mm-hmm.
Which is awesome.
So a couple other things we got to mention in the movie. So this to me would have been the better camping example to use. Like Goku's very very stoked about camping and initially shows up and Chi-Chi's asking the question.
It's like, is your son's education or camping more important?
Like, that's an easy one, Chi-Chi. Come on,
camping.
Well, remember before that was the joke that brought down the house. Was the fact.
Well, I know, but like the all right, go on.
I was saying the joke that brought down the house beforehand. He shows up is go on, finish your studies.
And then Chi-Chi's like, go on. I think your father's sick.
Too many. Oh, I knew this would happen. Too many blows to the head, and she's about to grab him, and she falls over.
I just love how she's always complaining about Goku focusing on fighting, and that even Gohan even him thinking that Gohan should, but the moment Goku actually agrees with her, she's like, something's wrong with your father.
Which is just again one of the priceless Goku Chi-Chi moments. There are a few of them, but that's one of the top ones.
That just also goes to show she knows Goku better than anyone. So when he's saying that focus on camping, there is something wrong. But even though there wasn't really anything wrong in this case.
Yeah. Camping. He's very gung-ho about the camping, that Goku, because of his time in the mountains.
Yep. And to be fair, camping isn't too bad.
Yeah. Anyway, so all the so we have some stakes here where like Gohan, they're kind of like Goku gets injured again through. Yeah, I mean, would Goku really be that injured from one hit at this point? If he defeated Frieza, I don't know, but just for the sake of drama, all right. They're kind of hiding. They gotta be a little stealthy, and Gohan is like he's on a task to save his father by grabbing senzu beans at Korin Tower, and we have a really nice bit where Gohan interacts with Korin, and the whole thing of like, you didn't climb the tower, did you? And like, I'm sorry, Master Korin, you're right, or he didn't bring a gift or something. It was like Korin was like pulling a Willy Wonka on him here, like so shines a good deed in a weary world kind of a moment.
But instead, Yajirobe just throws him the seeds and the beans anyway,
which is hilarious. But I love that Korin really does respect Gohan. Very nice.
Yeah.
Which we saw a little bit of in he only had one interaction with him, I think, in the Cell Saga. So it was. I always really liked seeing that little Gohan Korin moment. So he's a good boy like his dad.
He is, yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So battle and everything, and we melt Cooler in the sun, which, given all the ice, kind of the ice and refrigeration puns with Frieza and his family, melting in the sun is a very fitting defeat.
Yeah, it is. And again, his whole revelation his whole realization at the end that he could have avoided this.
Yes, and then that brings us to a sequel that completely undercuts all that.
The Return of Cooler.
Okay, so the Return of Cooler, this one is an iconic Dragon Ball Z film in that very memorable gimmick. It's Cooler, who again people liked him when he showed up in Return of Cooler. Sorry, in Cooler's Revenge. I'm doing it myself. When he showed up there, I was like, how the heck can we bring the guy back? He melted in the sun. Well, we don't have a good reason for why he's back, but we brought him back through technology. He's basically I imagine when this came out, Terminator 2 was either coming out or was popular.
1992.
Which I think is when that movie came out. So
March 7, 19. Let me see. Did you say Terminator or Terminator 2?
2.
Terminator 2 came out in 91, so yeah, that could track.
And yeah, we've seen, Toriyama's made reference to the Terminator movies throughout, the Android saga, and even like going back to the original Dragon Ball Major Metallotron. So
So, with the help of what was it called? The some kind of star.
Yeah, it was the Black Star or something. It was something
like Getty Star or something like that.
Yeah, Black Getty Star, I think might have been what it was called. Anyways, the point being, again, there's a lot of the writing has never really been. Here's the thing. Okay, so them in premise, just looking at the poster here, it's like it's the Terminator 2 of the Dragon Ball Z movies. At least that's what it wants to be. It's got a cool aesthetic. We brought Cooler back. He's kind of infused with technology. There's like an army of them, but again, a lot of movies gimmick first, drawn out action scene, And
whereas Terminator 2 is one of the greatest movies ever made, this is not.
That's the thing. I'm saying it's going for the aesthetic of a Terminator 2. Like on paper, it's like we want to be Terminator 2. Execution, I mean, we're going the new Namek. It's being threatened by a giant metal growth that's actually like a ship. And here's what I'm talking about. I question sending Goku, Krillin, Gohan, Master Roshi, Yajirobe, and Oolong the Pig, and Piccolo, sending all of these guys in a ship.
I think they were just there to add to the
they
because
needed comedy relief.
Yeah, they comedy relief and the fact that they weren't there in the first place.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just it's just we need comedy filler until we get our Super Saiyans, which, by the way, is another thing where Cooler's Revenge is like, okay, look, if becoming a Super Saiyan is what defeated Frieza, we probably should have sprung to that a lot faster.
And this is actually the first theatrical movie to have Vegeta in it.
Yeah.
So
the metal coolers look really awesome.
But from what I understand, all the metal coolers really ate into the film's budget.
That tracks. That would make sense. Yeah.
And that's why this movie seems a bit more off model compared to some of the others.
Yeah, it shows.
So
anyway, somehow, that's the question. Is we have all the metal coolers, which are pretty cool. However, somehow stronger than Cyborg Frieza. Somehow.
And the power scaling is inconsistent within the movie itself. Like, they barely can handle one cooler, but then they can deal with 1,000 coolers.
Yeah.
Which
now you could make the argument it's kind of like they
really spread it apart and it weakens them.
Well, I mean, sure, but I was also going to say you could argue to the whole thing. Frieza was considerably weaker as a cyborg than he was, all put together.
No, that's fair.
Which, I mean, kind of the whole metal fusion, like being held together by Scotch tape and kind of computer chips. Yeah. Anyway, so Vegeta has one of his his awesome entrances, which is the only guy who can have a cooler entrance than Piccolo. It's going to be Vegeta, and he shows up. I'm the only one that gets to kill you, and you shall spill no Saiyan blood today.
Before instantly turning into a Super Saiyan.
Yeah, which is freaking cool. And so we have the reluctant team up of Goku and Vegeta, and we have some great Sabat. Like again, we got a lot. The big takeaway with any of these Dragon Ball Z movies is that we get really good standalone clips and character moments, and especially from Vegeta, just stay out of my way, as he's powering up and like reluctantly teaming up.
Oh yeah.
We have the very memorable image of Goku and Vegeta being strung up, and it's a Deus Ex Machina. There's a lot of Deus Ex Machinas in these movies. Just the idea of like, okay, they're pretty doomed, and then they're gonna find the strength from within and just overpower Cooler with like just overcharging his cells.
And it's just like, okay, how do we finish this movie? It's like they have an idea for pretty cool action sequences, and they are cool, but then they have to figure out the rest of the movie from there.
Yep. Again, a lot of padding out with the comedy relief, which we really didn't need.
And some of you who aren't aware of these, most of these movies are just like 45 minutes, or basically they're less movies and more extended episodes.
Exactly.
With slightly better animation.
Well, in most
for the most part.
So Vegeta has a nice happy ending where he destroys like the AI chip on Cooler and he escapes in his little Saiyan pod.
Yep.
All right. So speaking of robotics,
we go to Super Android 13, and yes, the exclamation point is part of the title.
So I love how we do the slice of life stuff in this movie. That was always the highlight of, which is kind of not saying much about the movie itself. Where like the setting and the build up is really good. So we have just this. Obviously, our recreation of Dr. Gero's death is flawless, and that's a highlight to the movie's credit. Just like in the heart, and this is the idea of like, okay, look, if we're gonna try and add a spoke to the wheel, we might as well try and kind of like seamlessly kind of like suggest to the audience, like, okay, this is what it would look like if we did make room for this. So I mean,
And to be fair, Dr. Gero's death is actually a bit more brutal in this movie than it is in the actual series.
Which I always remembered very fondly from this movie. So yeah.
And it's like where there's you actually see like blood and like him like Android 17 impaling Dr. Gero.
Yeah.
And that's all, and that is all we see of 17 and 18 in this movie.
Yep. So I mean, we have that cool opening, which again just kind of like basically sets the stage for our threat, which is good. And then we have our slice of life mall stuff, which I love. Is my favorite part of the movie. Just like them all at the mall shopping as a family and like doing back to school shopping, even though Gohan gets homeschooled.
Yep. And there's really not. This movie is like probably the least amount of plot so far.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah.
And like Krillin, Roshi, Oolong.
There's like a beauty pageant that's supposed to be going on at the mall, which I love that idea because it feels like kind of like it feels like Mallrats. Remember the movie Mallrats?
Yes.
They had like the game show, so it's like an event you would have at a mall, but it wouldn't be too big, but it's not too small either.
Yeah, I know. I used to work in a mall too.
Oh yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you've beaten up the Easter Bunny.
Yeah, Dragon. I thought we agreed never to talk about that.
Well, he had it coming.
I'll tell him that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't tell you to kick him in the Easter eggs, but anyway, so or punch him, given this movie.
Yep.
Yeah, again, one of the most brutal moves used against Goku when Android 13 just like punches him right below the belt.
Right in the lug nuts.
Which, I mean, this happened to Superman recently too.
Yeah, he punches Super Android 13 right in the lug nuts.
No, I mean 13 punches Goku there.
Yeah, but right.
Anyway, so yeah, right in the Dragon Balls.
Right in the Dragon Balls.
So, Roshi, Krillin, and Oolong are at this beauty pageant, but they have the wrong day, which is just funny. I love like Goku getting food at the mall.
Yeah, and Chi-Chi's there doing all the shopping and making everyone else carry the things.
Yeah, so again, it's just really, I live for the slice of life stuff. And then we have Gohan. So again, the androids are awakened. They're looking for Goku, and they're just going to kill him just for the heck of it, even though Gero's gone. So specifically, Dr. Gero's computer built these androids. The originals were like the ones from the show, which clearly we have our continuity all over the place for how things work.
Yeah, because like Android 18 and 17 disappear from the movie after the intro.
Yep, and yet these are still number 13, 14, 15, so 16 kind of exist.
So where is Android 16?
That's a whole anyway. So they awaken. They're causing chaos at the mall, looking for Goku, and like a lot of action happens. Which again, to be fair, good action. Again, the fights are good, no complaints per se, but the fights do go on pretty long. That is the problem. We have good action, but we drag it out. Not 20 episodes worth, but we drag it out.
They drag on.
Yes.
But yeah, so the idea of the Red Ribbon Army coming back for revenge does kind of fit Dr. Gero.
Oh, yeah.
The whole Dr. Gero angle, and as we see later, once again in Superhero. But obviously probably done much better in Superhero as well.
Yeah.
Considering that movie was written by Toriyama.
Well, yeah.
So that's pretty much automatically makes it better.
Yeah. So I love there's this bit where Gohan stands up to Chi-Chi, which is pretty cool. Where what's more important, mother? Studies or the life of your husband? And then flies off.
Yep.
Then Krillin's like, yeah, I agree with going. Chi-Chi's not going to take that from Krillin. She's like, go help him. Like, kicks his butt.
And so she's basically just probably looking for an excuse to beat up Krillin.
Yeah. Which, it's going to be his marriage at the end of the day anyway, so.
Aw. Like, at least
lovingly. I want to be clear, lovingly, though. Like, the way,
at least Android
Heaton, kicks kind of proverbially kicks the crap out of a guy whose name we can't say.
Yep. I don't know what you're talking about, though. But
a show that we can't say the name of, but, Patricia Heaton's character from that show, her husband character in that show.
Everybody loves Robert's brother.
Exactly. The Emmy-winning classic. Everybody thinks Robert's a cool guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Yep.
So
the Brad Garrett's not getting paid enough show. That one.
All right.
So Android 13, he gets all the lines. It's pretty funny. Him with I think some of his ridiculous funny lines.
And a lot of it's due to the dubs, since they tried to spice the movie up by making them all like stereotypical American. Kind of.
Yeah, so here he's basically what the Red Ribbon. He's basically a Red Ribbon redneck is the gag.
Yep. And like, what are some of the things he says, Dragon?
He's basically Goku's trying to talk him down, like saying, we don't have to do this. I mean, you guys can make your own decisions. Like, he's trying to philosophize to the guy here and trying to peacefully talk him down. He says, don't you judge me with your $30 haircut.
Probably one of the few times, well, not one of the few times, but probably an example of the times where the dub actually kind of improves the movie.
Yeah. So again, this is loudmouth Red Ribbon redneck. It's pretty off the wall and it's pretty funny. Vegeta shows up and he instantly beheads 15, which is great.
Yeah.
he loves beheading the androids. So then 13 basically takes all the chips from the androids and it becomes Super Android 13. Use the Spirit Bomb and as a Super Saiyan, this again, just rinse and repeat. Just Spirit Bomb, Super Saiyan, done.
Which shuts down the underground computer.
However, to this movie's credit, we do have the best joke in any of these movies. Okay.
Yeah.
The very end of the movie. You remember this, don't you?
That's like it's over when the fish jumps.
Yeah, I think okay. Oh yeah, okay. So Piccolo says, "Is it over yet?" And then Vegeta says, "Not until the fish jumps." Fish jumps. It's over. So there's just the two of them, and this is kind of a running gag in a few of these. So I think here and I think Broly when we get to it, where Vegeta and Piccolo. The fact they're both voiced by Chris Sabat. And they're always kind of like, yes.
I'm just saying they don't have the same actor in English, but the fact that they do have the same actor in English makes it funnier.
Yeah. So the fact that you have, Vegeta and Piccolo, voiced by Chris Sabat, and they've been pretty much in a similar role of being the antagonistic one towards Goku, who again has, kind of softened up, to some degree over time. And, they're always in contrast to each other because, Vegeta killed a lot of Namekians, so Piccolo still kind of hates Vegeta.
At this point, yeah.
So yeah, it's the fact that these two guys just being like just sitting on they're randomly sitting on like a block of ice, like in the Arctic where like the fight took place. It's just them breaking the fourth wall, just like not until the fish jumps.
There, it's over.
Easily, of all the endings, again, just of all the buttons to end on, like that's perfect.
Oh yeah, that is funny.
Just because bring a little bit of that Toriyama gag manga humor there, just a little bit, even though there's nothing to do with this.
Nope.
All right.
And that brings us to definitely one of the turning points of the series.
Oh, yeah.
Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan.
Easily, without hesitation, I can say the most iconic and most memorable of any of the Dragon Ball movies. And again, a movie that was it made such an impact. It was so successful and so kind of notable. Broly eventually entered the actual canon. Broly came. Broly again. It was like Venom with Spider-Man. He was like it was the trend. With Batman, you had Bane, like the big, burly, muscular, just kind of threat that looks like, oh my god, it's like the most terrifying Batman villain you had seen at that time. That was not the Joker. Then on the flip side, you have, Superman, he gets Doomsday. Spider-Man, he gets Venom. It was the trend in the 90s. It was like the big, the big, beefy, I know Venom was technically the 80s, but Venom flourished in the 90s, though. That's the whole, Point being, was kind of like that was the trend, and this was Dragon Ball's kind of version of the big hulking Super Saiyan, which again, Super Saiyan being the cornerstone of Dragon Ball Z popularity, and like a way of just like Super Saiyan was like the big power ascension, like how do we kind of like surpass Super Saiyan, eventually Super Saiyan 3, and this was like before Super Saiyan 3 was a thing. We had legendary Super Saiyan.
And it actually kind of helps that Toriyama was involved somewhat in designing Broly as well.
Was he?
Yep. He wasn't created by Toriyama, but he designed him.
Yeah, I forgot. Honestly, I forgot that he actually had hands in designing him. I know later on he kind of like redesigned him. I know, so okay.
And it actually kind of helps that this is one of the longer movies, and they actually try and focus on the story and character development than some of the other ones. Like this movie's literally twice as long as the last one. Well, not literally, but like Android 13 was like 48 minutes. This one's 72 minutes. So it's actually more of a proper movie than some of the other ones were.
You're going to love this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you're going to care about it, but I'm just going to tell you anyway. So I go so deep on the Broly movie. I've only in my life I've only printed out 2 movie scripts ever. Okay. Deadpool was the script, and I told you it's kind of like the way I approached Invincible. I only read it once, so I could be surprised when the movie came out. Fortunately, it took 7 years in the case of Deadpool, but that was what I did there. So that one was like always emphatically that was like the script I needed, and I still have. The other one, I don't think I still have this one, but I remember like as a kid though, it's like I somehow came across the Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan script and/or it might have been more of like a transcript, like basically someone like all the lines of dialogue there. It was kind of a script, so somehow it was like online, and I printed it, but it was a very long script despite being an action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was always like just another kind of Broly memories. Like I said, most memorable era. Again, just being kind of being ultimately canonized thanks to Toriyama probably designing it, which I'm sure helped.
Toriyama eventually would bring him back in Super.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, that was the first Dragon Ball movie I saw in theaters was Super Broly.
Nice.
And actually, I think it's the only Dragon Ball movie I saw in theaters.
I would not be surprised.
So.
All right, so again, Broly just the character himself, just an example of like muscles and testosterone with Super Saiyan to the max. Just again, DBZ is Venom slash Bane slash Doomsday, kind of like per the '90s trend. Um, just very memorable visual. Beyond that, the movie itself, I remember I love the slice of life thing we start off with, like the other Goku Chi kind of like shenanigans here, where they're doing like a parent teacher interview trying to get Gohan into a nice school. And the whole like Goku, you need extra. Goku, they're gonna ask you what your hobbies are.
Was that in? I don't think that was in this movie. Was it?
Yeah, that was in this movie. Yeah,
I thought it was in one of the other ones.
No, it was. Trust me, it was in this movie. Because all the other movies, he's dead in them. Jacob, until the very last.
I didn't mean the other Broly movie. I thought it was just like another movie in general.
No. It's no. I'm saying in like all the other. No, it's in this movie.
All right, it's like your hobbies are reading and sports.
Everyone behind Goku's like, hey, whatever you say, lady. All right, they're as scared as Goku is.
It's like that's why I keep saying Chi-Chi is the most powerful person in the Dragon Ball universe.
Well, Master Roshi's even called this out in the show. It's like Goku hasn't returned, not because he doesn't want to, because he's terrified
of his wife.
Yeah.
It's like she may not be the most physically powerful, but she's the only person that Goku's afraid of.
Yeah. No, I remember that. I remember it vividly with this. Is the fact that Goku he used the instant transmission. I just love he's in the middle of this parent-teacher conference, like, oh hey King Kai, what's going on?
And then he's like, I'm hungry.
It's like, well, Chi-Chi says, I won't have any dinner if I don't do this parent-teacher thing. He's like, oh, just come on, cook you a hamburger. Sean Schemmel, he loves doing King Kai. Even more than Goku, most likely. He loves doing King Kai.
King Kai is great. And then of course, like, King Kai, which way is south?
It's that way. Nice.
Like, oh yeah.
But still, it's the idea. He does the transmission at the the parent-teacher conference. Is like, is your husband a magician? His favorite hobbies are reading and sports. I love Cynthia Krantz so much. Dear God, I love her. And we haven't even gotten to her best role in anime yet. I just love it.
Is she? I'm guessing it's in Yu Yu Hakusho.
It is. Okay, now to be fair, I mean, I'm sure people would fight me on that. I love her role in Yu Yu Hakusho, but Chi-Chi's great though. I'm just saying her other role was like a lot of fun that she never gets credit for because Chi-Chi overshadows.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah, to be fair, I love them both. I'm just saying, like the other role is like it's kind of the opposite of Chi-Chi.
Well, we'll see how that goes then.
Anyway,
it's like so. A Saiyan by the name of Paragus.
Paragus.
I know Paragus.
No, it's Paragus.
Paragus, because asparagus, I guess.
Yeah, that's the gag. Yeah.
Like so, comes to visit Vegeta to make him the prince of their new Vegeta.
Yeah, so I love our plot on this one. I think the plot's pretty solid on this. He's manipulated Vegeta so he can get revenge on him.
Yep.
So again, I like our plots to kind of tie into the show like this, where this guy's revenge plot ties into the very beginnings of the show and the series. I mean, admittedly, we have a really thin motivation on Broly, but it does tie into the very beginning. So I kind of like that we're still going that direction,
Well, in this movie, it's kind of ambiguous, but.
What do you mean?
I mean, I'll get what I mean later.
Anyway, so we have a scare. So point being, Vegeta takes the bait despite Trunks' future Trunks begging him, like, don't, father, this is obvious. Something doesn't smell right here. Don't let him manipulate you like this. He's playing to Vegeta's ego of like, you can be, King Vegeta, which again is a real sore spot. It was a sensitive spot for Vegeta because, he loved his father, and even though he didn't spend a lot of time with him, and, he wanted, he's very much, he aspired to be his father, but there's no planet Vegeta. So you can be the King of Saiyans again.
And joining him are, again, Gohan, Trunks, Krillin, Roshi, and again, Oolong.
Yeah. They got in their defense, okay, versus Return of Cooler. This is more like a last minute kind of thing where you get the sense if they really thought about it, they would not have gotten on that spaceship.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Like, we have the random runner with Roshi too. Roshi's like, we can't really have him be kind of lady crazy as per usual because he's on a. Now let me ask you this. Okay, so Roshi is really drunk in this. That's kind of the idea. He's kind of drunk from like a party they were having, and he's very irate and he just wants to get off the planet. Now, do you think?
and he wants some other things too.
Well, that's the thing. I'm sorry. I'm kind of wondering maybe if it's less that he's drunk and more of like there's no women on this planet. I want off.
He's like, this might be even be a dub thing. Like, I didn't even give him like a magazine or anything.
Yeah.
So
I love that Roshi's like complaining to Paragus about this.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, so a big center kind of point of the movie is we have this really memorable, scary flashback of why Paragus wants revenge on Vegeta. So we revealed that King Vegeta ordered the death of his infant son because his infant son's power level like tested off the scales, at least potentially, and it was like it could have dwarfed even the king's own power. So he ordered the death of the child, and very brutally. And my God, it's like they cut out they cut the shot right before you see something really gruesome. But basically, shadow of the baby being held upside down, dagger's coming close. We hear like crying out like a horrible scream, like it's oh my God. And then we the dying bodies of the son and the father just like cast aside. And again, it's a well delivered flashback kind of monologue from Paragus here. But we were doomed, and then Planet Vegeta was being destroyed by Frieza,
and Broly in his power as a baby help them escape.
Which again, I love that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But that part of Broly's, Broly's motivation, the story, and the revenge plot, I think that's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
And then we have the silly element, which as a kid never bothered me, but I look back on it, it's like, yeah, it's very thin. It's paper thin. Paper thin is when I printed out the script pages.
He was also annoyed by baby Goku's or Kakarot's crying.
Yeah, so the idea that Broly hates Goku to his core because he was basically kind of baby pod mates with him. He was right next door. Broly was crying because Goku he was upset because Kakarot just kept wailing and crying like crazy.
Which I will say is kind of a Toriyama joke, but
yeah,
but it is kind of telling that later to that Toriyama, when writing the Super Broly movie, kept the King Vegeta trying to kill baby Broly, but left out the crying Kakarot.
Yeah. He was going to get a lot of guff over it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is a nice connecting thread that Vegeta's always like heard tales of the legendary Super Saiyan, and he's on the hunt for him, which of course, unbeknownst to him, is Broly.
And Goku has heard tales of the South Galaxy's planets being completely obliterated by the Super Saiyan.
So it's a nice kind of cross nexus of he's looking for the culprit, and then Vegeta's there, and Vegeta's not thrilled to see Goku, and Goku's there for a reason. Like, you're after the legendary Super Saiyan as well. Like, what's going on here? So as much praise as I would give Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, it is kind of weak sauce seeing Vegeta just give up at the sight of the legendary Super Saiyan, even if it was all bluster of like, I'm going to find that legendary Super Saiyan, see how powerful it really is. But him actually seeing it makes him crumble. I get that, but just I don't know, just seeing completely like Piccolo's like grabbing him and saying, so you're useless. How you turn to a whimpering pile because happens to be a legendary Super Saiyan. Like, how do you feel about the whole like pep talk and Vegeta kind of throwing in the towel? Like, what do you think?
I mean, I didn't really have too much of an issue with it.
I'm not saying it's like I would like to see Vegeta like angry while he's fighting this guy in disbelief versus like he's just kind of like resigned himself. Like, that's kind of.
I mean, he did fight. Try fighting. I think he did. Didn't he try fighting Broly, and then like he sensed his power, and then he was like, "Oh God, this guy's too powerful even for me."
Yeah, but he just kind of gave up, though. It's not just like we've seen Vegeta go, like fighting to the bitter end, like against like Kid Buu. Man, I'm just feels like he should.
Now this was before Buu.
Well, yeah, sure, but I'm saying even like with the Cell Sug, there's an ego, and it would be wounded pride, but not like giving up.
Well, yeah, kind of.
He pretty much gave up until Piccolo gave him the tough love pep talk, which I mean, I guess it works because of that, but it's just a little out of character. Which now, to be fair, these movies have moments where characters are written very off what they. Again, there's a lot of continuity issues. There's a lot of like just logic things, or it feels like Toei at times, or at least the writers Toei employed, just they did not really watch the show or read the manga in places like.
Well, a lot of them are actually writers of the series.
Oh, well, again, there's a lot of the filler on the series, presumably as well.
I think
I'm throwing it out there because I'm saying we're doing stuff like we're kind of like the wishes later on and the entries we're going to get to. They completely didn't listen to any of the rules on how the Dragon Balls work. And then before that, we have stuff like Goku, like he's able to heal the little birdies and everything, that kind of stuff. It's like I think our priorities need to be a little straighter here. I don't know. And Vegeta throwing the towel. These are the things.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah.
But the main reason they do that though is to show Goku getting his butt bitten by Broly.
What?
Remember, the main reason they show Vegeta being catatonic is to show Goku getting beaten by Broly.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
Well, I thought you said something really different. That's
getting his butt beaten by Broly.
Yeah, I thought you said bitten.
No, I did not say bitten.
It sounded a lot like you said bitten. That's the thing.
Well, I'm trying to tell you I didn't say that.
No, I know you didn't say it now. I was saying then. That's why I was like, oh, wait, what?
All right.
Anyway.
That would be kind of interesting to see, though.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't see a lot of Saiyans resorting to biting.
Well, yeah, unless it's Frieza.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah. Plus, if anyone's going to be a biter, it's going to be Goku. He eats a lot.
Yep.
All right, anyway, so again, hulking Super Saiyan hates Goku more than Vegeta does, which is saying something.
And whatever, and he puts a very good fight. Broly is like more powerful than anyone could ever imagine.
It bothers me that Broly can talk sometimes when he should be more monosyllabic. His whole thing is he says Kakarot, but then he's like insulting like the inhabitants that they've enslaved to basically create the facade that was like New Vegeta.
It's like he does have some pretty good lines though. He's like, "Until you're dead at my feet."
Yeah, but then we also have like, "Oh, you see your little planet up there? Like you think you'll one day be able to go back and just now awesomely." Destroys the planet from such a distance with one energy blast. That's his power is very impressive. I will give him that.
Yep, probably to rival that of even Frieza.
I love the energy effect where he does that thing where like everything turns green and it condenses into like the energy ball. You remember that?
Yeah, that was pretty neat. And it's pretty. They really did. Where a lot of the others had kind of iffy animation in some areas, they really like kind of put a lot of budget into Broly.
We have a kid, even within the fight, we have a few gags, which I appreciated. Like, Goku, he says he sees Broly, with like licking the blood off of after he gets punched or something. He like licks the blood. Oh man, that was gross, completely unnecessary. And then he sets Goku on fire with like an energy blast. So they go on. It's like, oh, hold still, father. He's just like trying to put him out.
And let's not discuss. Well, let's not bury the lead on him killing Paragus.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we have comedy like Master Roshi having like his big comedy moment too. We have mentioned that real quick. So
right.
For a moment, Master Roshi he bulks up. He says broccoli. Yeah, you're.
And then Oolong's like, "Is that very tough?" But his name was Broly.
But again, he's doing like the thing like when he bulked up from the Kamehameha wave, but then he's doing like the. Again, because obviously good. As a kid, I was like thinking, "Oh my god, just seeing the hulked up Master Roshi fight the hulked up Broly, that'd be kind of cool." When you think about it, it's like, yeah, it doesn't stand a chance. And we reflect that by him using like the mask, like, "Ooh," we're getting the face doing a little comedy routine, and he kind of turns all puny, and it's like, "Oh, honestly, next show's in 5 minutes." See ya.
It's a distraction.
Yeah,
and I said I love how Oolong's just like, Well, very tough, but his name is Broly.
It was an epic Master Roshi moment, but he's getting the name wrong because he's drunk and he's got travel sickness.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah. So Paragus, though, he has a very horrific death. Where Broly, he's trying to again. He's been controlling his son this whole time, trying to amp down his power until, of course, Kakarot shows up and.
Because the entire thing is Broly is technically, according to him, never really been right in the head.
Yeah.
And so he tried to control him.
Yeah.
And then they were trying to he put him in coma for a long time, and then when he realized wait, if I control my son, I can basically do whatever I want. I can take over the world, take over the universe. True. And so and they kind of lean more into the abusive side of things in the Broly movie in the Super movie.
So I like that they maintained that element too. That Paragus was really kind of again, he had a very tragic backstory, but he ultimately was a very bad father.
It's King Vegeta was obviously objectively bad in that regard, but
Bardock was no prize, but he came around at the end though.
Yes, but Paragus, he was still a monster, especially to his own son.
And he got a comeuppance there, where he's saying, "Well, bro, we have to get off the planet in a pod that only fits one," and he basically crushes the pod, and
we actually see his body being kind of squished a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then Broly just does does the baseball throw and throws him out into the sun.
Yep.
So.
All right, so then ultimately when we have our Broly fight, everyone it's a Spirit Bomb equivalent. They all give their energy to Goku, and he doesn't do a Spirit Bomb, but he basically uses the Spirit Bomb-esque gathered energy to take Broly out with like a hit or something. Then he instant transmissions everyone to safety. The last possible second with the ironic demise, which would have been Comet Komori was going to destroy Planet Vegeta, which is what the cover story was. Reality was Frieza, but the cover story was that a comet hit Planet Vegeta,
and all the excess energy causes Broly to explode.
Yeah, like a big gash, and yeah. All right, let's see. So we have the gag where Vegeta and Piccolo are in the pod with everybody else. You're in the ship with everybody else, and they're shoulder to shoulder, looking really unhappy about it. And we have our hilarious gag at the end where Goku and Gohan have returned home, and says, "Hey, Chi-Chi, my hobbies are reading and sports," and she passes out and it's a cute little runner. Go on, go get some hot water, get some water, get a towel or something.
It's yeah, at least he remembered his hobbies this time.
Yep.
And so Broly was actually pretty decent. It was actually a pretty decent effort.
It's not perfect, but it's iconic. It's definitely the most nostalgic, I think, of all of them.
And with a little more script tightening, it could have definitely been the Dragon Ball movie, the Dragon Ball Z
without
movie.
Question. Yeah, I think so.
And which Toriyama himself proved many years later.
Yeah.
Because you've seen the Super Broly, and you would agree.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
And plus, they combine that with fusion, so.
Mm-hmm.
So, that kind of worked out.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that brings us to the next one, and you said the end of phase 2, basically.
In my opinion, yes.
Which brings us to BoJack Unbound. BoJack didn't really take his defeat in this movie very well, did he, Dragon?
No, he didn't. He took all the muffins.
And then he retired for many years, then came back as a horse.
Yep. He had a famous TV show in the 90s.
Yep.
Yes, Will Arnett plays the bad guy in this one. No, I'm kidding.
That would have been pretty funny in hindsight, though.
Oh dear God, yes.
So, but this is another kind of interesting one where they with a kind of original villain.
I think the setup was a lot better than what the movie ended up being. That's kind of what I think happened here. The tournament, me, I love a tournament in Dragon Ball. I live for it. So the idea of like this fun, and it's a tournament in a way we haven't seen before. We had the preliminaries were like this battle royale thing, and which I thought was awesome. It was a really great, energizing way to start the movie.
And it's an intergalactic tournament.
Yeah, yeah. Now, admittedly, that's when we're starting to like introduce the thing that's going to maybe take the movie down a peg. But just the idea of like this battle royale thing that's going on. It's basically this millionaire's gift of a tournament to his son with aliens, with real aliens, which are really just guys in costumes, not really aliens. And you missed the winner of the tournament will fight Mr. Satan, all for the kid's birthday. And of course, we had some Hercule comedy, which is great.
This is the movie that introduced Mr. Satan into the mix.
Yep.
And it would have been kind of interesting if the aliens we eventually get were actually there for the tournament, or actually like use the tournament as a cover.
Yeah, admittedly, yeah.
So
anyway, so that's the thing. So we have Hercule panicking over the fact that the Z fighters are in there, which is great. Just love seeing like they're all there, and Hercule's starting to panic, like, oh no, it's them.
And technically, if you think about it, Goku kind of does count as an intergalactic fighter.
You mean wait?
Goku does count as an intergalactic fighter.
Well, yeah, but he's not in the tournament.
I know, but so does Gohan, I guess, too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you count that, then yeah. Obviously, Piccolo, we have aliens in the thing, yes.
Yes.
Anyway. So, I love our setup here. We have the tournament's really fun. Like, Krillin's in there. It's like, oh, man, Krillin might actually have a shot this time. And they see the Piccolo there, and Piccolo's kind of like, oh, man, where's the challenge in this? And he just flies off and helps Krillin out. It's adorable.
And then and for once, Tien is in this movie, too.
Which I love. I love Tien actually got to do some stuff.
Yep, he barely gets to do anything throughout the entirety of Z. So
the fight I want to see Krillin versus Tien. One of these days, if I could ever get one, that's the matchup I want to see.
It is strange that Toriyama never gave us that fight.
Yeah, because it was always Goku versus Tien. That's why, because usually they put Krillin against Chiaotzu, but
yep.
Yamcha's just like laying around. He falls in the water because he's an idiot.
Yep.
All right, so we have Goku and King Kai, and this is a bit that we hinted at in the show in the filler that Toei did in the anime with Goku and King Kai. They were looking to build a place before they ended up going to. This was like basically during the Babidi Saga. This is kind of during the top of the Babidi Saga when we did the other world tournament. Before they went there, they were trying to build a house like under Snake Way, and this is kind of the expansion of that idea of what if they were successfully able to build that house. A little shack where they're watching the tournament that's going on from Otherworld, which is it's cute. I love the domesticated life of Goku and King Kai because they're buddies, and Goku got them into this mess. It just feels so much like a sitcom with those two that I would desperately want to watch.
And they're both voiced by the same guy,
which is great.
Yep.
Okay, meanwhile, so Bojack himself, basically this alien demon that was sealed away by the Kais until Goku was responsible for this threat because when he blew up King Kai's planet, it basically somehow freed this guy in the cosmos and the stars like around the area. Basically, the explosion was big enough that it kind of like freed him. Basically, It's kind of like General Zod from the Donner cut of Superman 2. It's essentially what the logic was there.
And so Bojack is actually a pretty interesting villain. He's just even though he is kind of another generic strong guy, he is a bit of a pirate, so that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, look, just structurally the idea of these fighters have infiltrated the thing, and our Z fighters are going up against these guys. It's not bad, but I much would have preferred like an actual tournament.
Yeah, the tournament would have been pretty neat.
Anyway, so Bojack and his cronies fight the Z Warriors, and
and Krillin gets teamed up with the woman of the group.
Of course.
Yep. And he's like, oh man, she's hot.
Yeah, Krillin and the ladies.
Yep. He has a thing
for strong women.
Yep, not really a specific type though.
Well, yeah, no, strong women.
But you know what I meant by that.
Yep.
So
some look like Bulma, some look like Android 18.
One of them is Android 18. but he's not there yet.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, so the point being, I like that we hit the beat of, Vegeta's kind of bummed out about Goku's demise, so he's kind of sworn off fighting, but, he kind of goes in the fray to help future Trunks out as he and Piccolo show up and they assist Gohan and Trunks.
yeah.
Hercule's cowardice, we milk a lot out of that, like he's trying to leave the island and everything. It's a whole,
But nobody keeps letting him.
Yep, it's pretty funny. So ultimately, Hercule, he serves as a distraction using we have this awesome way in which they get to the different fighting arenas where they get into the little luge pods things.
And it takes them to different parts of the island, which is pretty cool.
Yes. Anyway, so Hercule ends up getting in one of these, and it gives him just enough of the distraction for the Z fighters to kind of win the day. Admittedly, as a bunch of we really drag everything after Act 1. I think really the movie gets really forgettable pretty fast. That's kind of the problem versus the other movies where, again, not a long run time, but just still, it's like, okay, so Gohan's fighting this very nondescript BoJack character who kind of powers up a little bit.
The beats from this are kind of bar.
The guy he's no Cell. Let's be honest, he's no Cell.
I know, but it's kind of like the beats and everything, and especially considering the father's son Kamehameha are kind of definitely borrowed by the Cell side.
Oh, absolutely, they're using the same playbook, and we have Hercule there. The whole
not borrowed by, but borrowed from. That's what I meant. I said borrowed by the Cell Saga. I meant to say borrowed from.
Yeah. Anyway, so then we have this is what I'm talking about. We're breaking all sorts of rules here. Goku just randomly can do instant transmission from beyond the grave and punch BoJack.
And add to the Kamehameha.
Yeah, so just
Which at that point makes you wonder, wait, why did he just come back to Earth in the first place if he can just do that?
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, just the canon, the logic, and the thin writing on these movies sometimes. Where, so ultimately, Gohan turns into Super Saiyan 2 and he wins the day. Again, rehash of Cell Saga. And, yeah.
So, yeah. And, at least there wasn't a spirit bomb.
Thank goodness. Well, again, Goku's not around, so it can't be a spirit bomb.
And he never really taught anybody else how to do that.
Nope.
So, cool. BoJack had a cool design. His henchmen were pretty cool too, but unfortunately, not much more than that.
Nope.
And that brings us to the next one. Technically the second sequel of sorts.
Yeah.
Broly, Second Coming.
So this is what I'm talking. This is kind of the third act of these original, Dragon Ball Z movies, and this is the one where these are the new ones that were coming out. They were kind of caught up to where it was at the time, which is the Majin Buu era. So we had, you had Goten and Trunks, and it was a lot of, basically this is the time where I was kind of caught up in my fandom for Dragon Ball Z, and I was like, oh man, this is a brand. This is where they the new releases. This was the first time we had new releases. So Broly Second Coming onwards, when I was caught up to when they were starting to come out. So this to me, this was a nostalgic event. This is a sequel I cared about that I didn't just have access to with the cooler stuff, and the box sets they were putting out way back. It was and if memory serves, I want to say I don't know if I got it directly because it was one of the ways they released the movie, because I had a Broly figure that was from Second Coming, and I forget if it came with the DVD or not, but it was released around the time of the thing. So again, it was oh my god, I finally have a Broly figure because Broly was so cool looking. Anyway, so. Again, Broly got the most sequels out of anything because, again, it kind of was that 90s kind of Venom kind of vibe that he had going on, the big hulking version of our hero.
Oh yeah.
So let's see. So we have the boys and Videl are hunting for the Dragon Balls. Kind of a classic throwback adventure.
It is kind of nice to see Videl having a major prominent part, even if she gets sidelined a little later.
Yeah.
And I will say, with this, and especially the next one, Goten and Trunks are the weakest parts of these movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think here it's a little more like fun that they're kind of centrally in the action. It's like, okay, well, these two guys might have a chance at going up against them, but oddly, again, if they could have fused, they probably should have to take on this guy. But it probably the assumption is that I guess they don't have the ability to fuse at this point. Otherwise, why the heck wouldn't they have done that?
Yeah, but yeah, like seeing Videl kind of being like the babysitter of sorts of them, which is it was pretty cool.
Putting her in the Bulma role, but what if Bulma could actually fight? That's kind of the idea, you know?
Yep, and fly. Yeah, I think she could fly. Could she fly at this point?
Yeah, she can fly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So we have the boys have their very juvenile wishes. Like I think Videl in general just wants to see the dragon, and Goten he wants like an ice cream and cake land. Trunks wants his own amusement park.
yep. I mean, and let's face it, those are like those are things that kids would wish for.
Yep. Anyway, so amidst the action, Broly somehow he landed on Earth again. Very stupid rationale, but I guess the idea is somehow he got frozen and he drifted into the planet, and then uh, Goten very conveniently is whining about food to the point where I'm hungry. He's just whining about an apple, like overplaying it so the Videl will give in. But still, it's just like he's wailing over a stupid apple, and that awakens Broly.
Yep. Like I said, while the original movie kind of kept it ambiguous as to that's why Broly hated Goku so much. This pretty much confirms that yeah, he only hates Goku because he kept him up as a baby.
I don't think it was ambiguous here. I think it's pretty direct. Like we saw the scene and everything. He hates Goku because he cried.
Yeah. But now he extends that to Goten, and
Yep.
well, and while Broly could be arguably seen as somewhat tragic or layered in the previous movie, this kind of removes what made him interesting.
Oh yeah.
Where he just and bless Vic Mignogna for his performance here, but they didn't really give him much to work with.
No, they didn't. And again, to be fair, characterizing him with like minimal dialogue is a thing that I liked because it made him scarier, but because it made him more Hulk-like. But by the same token, it's like when I look back on it, allowing Broly to talk is not a bad thing, which ultimately Toriyama and company learned from when they did the superhero also when they did Super Broly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good move, but it's also kind of like makes it a little like more difficult. Okay, this guy's just a big bruiser. He's a big piece. More like look this way: if he was Venom, if he was a Venom equivalent in Legendary Super Saiyan, here's more Doomsday esque here. Very monosyllabic. Says Kakarot. That's it.
Kakarot!
Just says Kakarot and he laughs until Trunks can't hold it anymore. Pretty much.
And then he does say a line of dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Videl versus Broly for a bit, which a lot of people say, "Oh, how was she not dead?" Which is fair, but it's also the Spopovich kind of equivalent. Like she's the tough, she's Mr. Satan's daughter. She can take some abuse.
And even then, she fared better against him than she did Spopovich.
Agreed. So we have the boys versus Broly, which is basically Trunks stalling while Goten's like trying to scurry to get the Dragon Balls. Gohan arrives, and the movie really gets going as he turns fully into legendary Super Saiyan Broly. Big old battle between Gohan and Broly, which is neat. Then we have the bizarre Piccolo fake out with Krillin.
Yeah, that was pretty weird.
I kind of wish it was the real Piccolo saving Gohan, but it's
I think this is like one of the few movies where we don't actually have Chris Sabat in it at all.
Yeah, they couldn't afford him.
I think this is like the only one where he's not in the movie at all.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that or maybe the next one too.
I mean, it could be an ancillary character, maybe doing the voice directing on. I'm not sure, but
Like he has no voice parts in this movie.
I was like, if he's no ancillary characters, then you're right. There's no Sabat.
And he actually does voice an ancillary voice a character in the next one. So I think this is the only Dragon Ball Z movie with no Chris Sabat in it.
Yeah. All right, anyway, so then we have again this really stupid writing. We have the ambiguous wish for Goku, which is not like Goten doesn't even actually like verbalize the wish. And we have
Yeah.
like the father son, Kamehameha wave ×2, which is really neat.
And that's what defeats Broly.
Which again, though, the correlation with the dragon felt very mandated here. Which I mean, to an extent, look, I love the adventure for the Dragon Balls. It just feels like, man, we really, because it's always the caveat with the dragon where he can't do things that are beyond his power. I mean, we reach a point in Dragon Ball Z. That's the thing we addressed in the show in really clever ways, and here it just becomes more apparent in a way that kind of takes you out of it. It's like, yeah, you have to really crave with the wishes with the dragon because the dragon. I mean, the dragon was taken out by Piccolo way back when. So I mean, anyone can defeat. Anyone's more powerful than the dragon. So basically, it was their workaround for the dragon can't just wish away the bad guy because of that, or at least very least he can't like kill the bad guy because of that.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, so let's move on.
So yeah, so if this wasn't the worst, then the next one probably definitely is.
Yeah, that's of the Broly trilogy. This is the clunker.
Bio Broly.
Yeah, the other one at least hyped me up. Is like, oh my god, Broly's coming back, and it's older Gohan. I loved older Gohan, so that was like kind of neat. Bio Broly, on the other hand, we have some great comedy in places, but
Like, Dragon, do you know what the worst thing is about this movie?
what is the worst thing?
It's not the kid. It's not turning Broly into a sludge monster. Not even that. It's what they did to my girl, Android 18.
Well, what your girl?
I know. Like, no, she's like, my boy, my girl, that kind of thing.
Yeah. What did they do to her?
They nerfed her to.
Well, I mean, until like, okay, to be fair, let's face it, Android against the actual Broly, she wouldn't stand a chance.
Yeah, but against the sludge monster, she should have been able to stand a chance.
You're right about that, but okay, I'll give you that. Yeah, we nerfed her with the actual threat. Everything else, that she was written pretty in character. I mean, Act 1, that's 18 to a T,
Yeah, I mean, I think Android 18 is the best part of the movie.
That's what I'm saying. All the best parts of the movie were her. That's why I was a little thrown off. Like, wait, what are you? Like, so yeah, she got nerfed in the action with the bad guy, sure.
And the best part of it was the first half where she was actually doing like holding Mr. Satan to a task.
Yeah. So overall, Bio Broly, very gimmicky. It was the idea that okay, Broly's bringing in the money because people loved, like the idea of like our big Hulk and Saiyan bad guy. We brought him back, so instantly our next movie has to be more Broly. We need that. We need that Broly money. And so the idea of like, okay, let's say Broly will combine him with mad science and slime, and these are like the cornerstones of the '90s. It's like Broly and slime.
And the thing is, like, outside of like the part where we see him in the tank, he spends most of his time as just like a barely recognizable sludge monster with a little flecks of blonde hair.
Then again, the gadget nut in me and the sci-fi nut in me was like, okay, we're bringing Broly back through like it's always the question of with the sequels, how do we bring the Dragon Ball Z villains back? Now with the Cooler, we had like the kind of science and technology, but it was a really like hackneyed way in which we did it. It's still hackneyed the way we do it here, but I just like the idea it was like more earthbound,
Yeah.
Like someone using science and like cloning Broly. That to me again, being kind of a '90s thing, just kind of in concept. By the time they made the original of this, just the idea of like, hey, let's it's like the Clone Saga with Spider-Man. We're going to clone our big baddie. Like that's in concept, that's kind of interesting. Much like the actual Clone Saga, it can only go so far. And in this case, combining him with the Blob was a very questionable choice.
Yeah, like I said, for the most of the movie, he's barely even recognizable as Broly.
Well, I mean, he's just when he's in the the tank, he looks like Broly. The second he's out, he turns blobby. So only.
And so and that's like for more than half of the movie.
Yeah. So 18 wants the money that Hercule owes her for throwing the World Martial Arts tournament, and she's following him on his misadventure, his invitation to fight Jaguar. So Jaguar is this rich guy who basically has knew Hercule in summer camp when they were kids, and basically he's blackmailing Hercule because of a bedwetting incident at summer camp.
Yeah.
And his Android 18 is rolling her eyes at this, like, oh god. just like, just the fact that she has to come along because she knows like Hercule's gonna squelch on the deal,
Yep.
which he has no reason to because he's loaded. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But he would find a way to get out of it.
So, admittedly, the 18 side of our filler is really funny, but by the same token, though, it's our semantics are really the semantics of how Broly comes back to life is garbage writing. I'm just gonna say it, man. It is like a rich billionaire with like a really petty grudge against Hercule Satan of all people. Not even for all the other stuff that would justifiably make you want to hate Hercule Satan. Not that we do, but that would make you want to see the guy get put through it.
I mean, he's one of those like lovable jerks.
Yeah. This is not like an example even of like, okay, well, just 5 people might be ticked off of him like lying about. So this isn't about that. He's telling the truth.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it's this this terrible contrived writing. I think one of the worst examples of it was like, okay, so the shaman character that no one cared about in the last movie, somehow, again, he's a shaman.
They somehow got blood samples after Broly was defeated.
What's the fact they had the foresight of, oh yes, I will use science. I was the stupid like shaman character who was like thinking we could like sacrifice like a young girl to a volcano to stop a dinosaur. That's essentially that's what his thinking was in the last movie. It's like science. Yes, I'll cash in. We'll clone Broly. It's not even a ceremony, man. It's just literally just science.
And there's even no sign that he even really knew who Broly.
Yeah, he has no idea who Broly is, or even like what was going on with Broly. The fight never even really reached the village, I don't think. So he doesn't know. You shouldn't know any of these things. I call BS on that. I call BS on Trunks knowing the Kamehameha wave. Just all of it. Just like no.
Yeah, like so. This movie is probably like one of the worst offenders in the canon category.
Like Broly's essentially Plasmus from the Teen Titans crossed with the Blob, and the way he kills the shaman's like an homage to the old Blob movie.
I mean, the Blob animation is fine, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's yeah.
I mean, ironically, why is it that the better writing the movie gets, it gets worse animation, but like the worse the writing is, the better animation it gets in some of these movies?
Well, that's the thing. Apparently, they're paying the writers less, and that money goes into the animation, Jacob.
Yeah, because this movie is actually pretty well animated for the most part.
Actually, I heard somebody, I don't know how true this was, with Invincible. Now, look, I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. Some people, especially in the early seasons of Invincible, they hate on the animation. Now, apparently, the theory is that the animation was lacking in season 1 because there was a lot of star power in season 1, and a lot of that star power they might have been getting pretty hefty paychecks.
Yeah,
and that took away from the animation budget. That's what the theory I kind of had. Someone did like a chart or something showing what I think. I don't know if I can trust those figures, but they're saying these guys are getting pretty hefty paychecks, but they were big names, so I don't know.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Anyway, so I'm not saying that's literally what's going on here, but it's just kind of like one of those things where budget's being distributed somewhere.
And literally, in some cases, the animation of characters moving were just like PNGs moving along a screen.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, Krillin 18, they got really good chemistry, and then ultimately.
Although I will say, the movie's saving grace is literally Android 18 and Krillin. And especially like that scene where he's holding the female scientist close, and he's just like hold on, if you fall you'll die, and 18's like, yeah, move on. And she's basically like, don't even think about it, Krillin.
Yeah.
She's like, you're my man, Krillin.
Yeah.
If anything, it shows that Android 18 does love Krillin, which is
but we all love Krillin.
We all do.
Yeah.
And let's just say I love their dynamic. It's adorable.
I always loved married Krillin, like with the hair and everything,
And I understand why he shaved it in Resurrection F, but
yeah.
But still, Krillin with hair, not too bad.
Yeah, it was the family man hair of Krillin, which is very endearing.
He's no longer like basically a fighting monk, so he was allowed to grow out his hair. But it was also kind of nice to have 18 shave his head.
Yeah.
And it did give one of the sweetest moments in the entire series where she's like, "He's so cool,"
Yeah.
which is just the cutest thing, and just like her usual monotone.
All right.
I know.
So, anyways, we do one of my pet peeves. We turn Broly into a kaiju, and then he's a kaiju gets basically defeated by seawater.
How do you defeat him? Water.
All that the whole time.
And the thing is, this base is on an island.
Just ridiculous. Just I can't even.
It's like he turns into a giant blob, like a mass of bio, and then he turns into a giant kaiju, giant monster, which ultimately results to nothing because he gets immobilized anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you the most insulting thing about this movie for me beyond that, okay?
Okay.
It's the fact that the very end, okay, the whole movie, very end.
I think it's what Goku sees with Goku, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So Goku's like stuffing his face, and I think King Kai or somebody mentions
it's orders from King Kai told by Bubbles.
Right, yeah. So basically, Goku learns that Broly's causing trouble in hell, and he and Pikkon have been instructed to go down there and take care of kind of fight Broly. So to me,
that would have been a great movie.
Yes, that's me. I love Pikkon. I love that whole story at the top of the Babidi saga. I love him and Pikkon paired together doing stuff like that, and we get that in the next movie. But it's just not him fighting Broly though. Him fighting everybody else but Broly. But it's the fact that we have Goku and Pikkon on an adventure in Otherworld, potentially fighting Broly. Where's that movie? That would have been infinitely better than this. Like Broly in the afterlife. Come on.
It's like they tease us for they give us this amazing idea of he's fighting Broly in hell. Like he doesn't have to hold back anymore.
Be awesome.
And with Pikkon, we're like one of the best anime original characters.
Tell me you wouldn't want to see Super Saiyan 3 Goku versus legendary Super Saiyan Broly. Tell me you wouldn't want to see that.
I would have loved to see that, and the fact that they teased that here and then didn't deliver it in the next movie just makes it even worse.
Well, you could have had Gaz and Mez in the mix, maybe, King Yama. It would have been great.
And it could have been him teaming up with the other villains, or the villains teaming up as well.
Yeah. Anyway.
That would have been awesome. I mean, but instead it's like, nah, sludge monster.
So it really feels like just the inkling of that idea did maybe, to some degree, inspire the next movie.
Which is named, and is definitely a much better movie, Fusion Reborn.
Okay, so barring one of the other movies we're going to be getting to soon, I think this might be the best, specifically Dragon Ball Z movie.
This is clearly taking inspiration from Boo.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I'm not saying it's not still stealing from it, but
I know, but it's definitely the most creative of the movies. It is obviously Boo, like a Boo analog, but they actually managed to make him distinct enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. So Fusion Reborn, it's kind of in terms of the pattern that we're locked into, I think this did absolutely the best with that pattern, where it felt like original enough, but it was very much cut from the same cloth. There was still stuff, it delivered stuff we hadn't seen per se. I mean, stuff that we saw with Gotenks, but not stuff we've seen with Vegito. I don't know, it was just a lot of, easily the best of all these specific, Z movies. It's fun. It isn't, again, it isn't completely a rehash. It's a lot of fun circumstance. It has the cinematic kind of, it's kind of a fun cinematic experience, where the other ones we had like touches of cinematic moments. And like I said, Dead Zone still has that cinematic vibe, even though it's not really, it's close. I mean, like this way, it's close, but obviously the whole, we're just rehashing like the opening episodes and Saiyan side. It's not held back by that.
And it was the most fun too.
That's the thing. This movie is so ridiculously fun. It feels like, it's like when oh yeah, I remember you didn't do this, but it's like when I saw the Yu-Gi-Oh movie in theaters as a kid. You know, it's kind of like that, where it's like there's the anime that you like, and you have to go to theaters, and it's kind of like the anime, and kind of the with at least with the aspirations to be kind of like Mask of the Phantasm in terms of this is the show that you like, but the best version of that show and like the most perfected, budget approved version of that, where it's like, hey, here's Batman the Animated Series with $5 million, go.
And it actually kind of does like strike a fine balance between like the original like Dragon Ball gag humor with Z's intensity.
Yeah. So we have a term in the other world, which of course, harkening back to something I love, one of my favorite fillers in all of Dragon Ball Z, not counting the driving episode. It was the term in Otherworld.
With Pycon.
Yeah, and they're having a rematch, and this is great. Like, yes, already, and we're getting Goku and Baga, like we promised at the end of that Broly movie. Like, yes, this is great.
Like, Broly does not appear in this movie, and even though the
one dead guy who doesn't appear in this, the one dead guy.
Like, and we do get to see some of the other villains, even though they don't really, even though it does give strangely more focus to it, someone else.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a missed opportunity, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing Goku and Pycon was really cool. And even the way the plot begins is definitely Toriyama-esque.
I know. So we're at King Yama's, and we have this kind of young janitor guy, and I always loved this bit. I wonder how you tell me. Wasn't this like a lovely bit where the janitor is like listening to music on his headphones? You have like the stuffier kind of older guy, just like, okay, hey, okay, you got some work to do here, buddy. You know, go on, do your like turn the music down. I didn't say turn it off. I just said turn it down. I was young once too, you know. I love that bit. I love that.
I did too, and the guy was like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah, it was a very sweet bit. I felt so bad for the guy who became Janempa. I was like, oh man, he's like a working Joe. He kind of screws up on the job. The evil, basically, we add the spoke to the wheel. That again, it's a non-canon thing, but it just for the purposes of the movie, it works pretty well. And it's a spoke to the wheel that doesn't really overwrite what we have.
This movie could very easily fit into canon.
That's what I'm saying. There's a proviso because obviously we acknowledge Majin Buu, so this guy is not specifically in place of Majin Buu. But
I mean, if without the Majin Buu line, if they remove that, this could easily fit into canon.
I mean, pretty much, yeah.
Well, they probably could have fixed it a little bit, maybe not just that, but even then, and I will say, it is such a Toriyama detail for Hell to have like a pressure valve.
Yeah, no, for sure, yeah, and I like that. And that's what I'm saying. We add spokes to the wheel of the world building of Dragon Ball Z with Otherworld in a way that makes sense, and you could actually canonize into the show, kind of like we canonized the elements of Garlic Jr. You know,
like that is such like that is such a Toriyama joke.
Yeah.
And
so again, the whole evil cleanse is like this evil cleanser thing, and we've seen. Well, look, in the past in the show, we've seen like the list, like the line of souls, and the idea if you don't keep your body, you end up in like the cute little like soul guy. And some of those souls go down, some of those souls go up, and that's kind of how. And they get on like charter buses and stuff, which is funny.
And King Yama's the one who decides.
Yeah, so pretty simple. And again, Jacob, file away King Yama. So, let's see, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, point being, with the accident happens, the evil cleanser breaks, and like it releases all this evil energy, and then absorbs the poor janitor guy. And he becomes Janempa, who is this giant kind of Majin Fat Buu-esque kind of just monstrosity that is almost it's kind of it's like, what if Majin Buu ate Totoro? That's kind of what we have here.
And the release of all this energy kind of warps Otherworld and blurs the line between the living and the dead.
Yes, so basically because the check-in station is like kind of like covered in this kind of funfetti looking amber substance.
It blurs the line between the living and the dead, meaning people have been dead for many, many years can come back to life.
Yeah, so like the barrier's down essentially. Like there's no border or barrier.
Which is refreshingly original compared to some of the more recent movies we've gotten from this. Like, it's not really something that they explored and that's been explored in Dragon Ball before.
Yeah, so again, it's a lot of right material here.
And it really doesn't go against any established rules.
I know, so it's pretty great.
So it seems like they kind of put in the effort in this one.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's really. I mean, here's the thing. Okay, Future Reborn feels like this one more than the other ones was really made for the fans.
exactly.
Which I think might separate it from the others in a good way. So, which by the way, my favorite detail with the Spirit Amber is that it's weak to insults, which cracks me up. That's a Toriyama joke.
And Pycon just has to keep insulting it over and over again.
God, I forget it. I forget if He Bear does the voice of Pycon or not. I think he does. Sounds like because it kind of sounds like older Gohan's voice, but that's He Bear. So
it is. It's Kyle. It's Hey Bear. Yeah.
Yeah, so I get his slip insulting, and King Yama's like, "Come on, Pycon, what are you doing?" He's yelling at Pycon's yelling at King Yama. It's really funny.
Yeah, it's like he's like back and forth between yelling at the barrier and yelling at Yama,
which is just hilarious. So I love this whole gag too, like Goku's childish glee at he's trying. It's almost like he's trying to get the attention of the baby by jingling keys. Like it's me you want to fight, isn't it? It's like Pycon, you help King Yama. I'm gonna take Janempa. just hilarious. And again, obviously Goku's having a ball fighting Janempa, but it's not going anywhere.
And I also really like Janemba's initial Janemba's design.
Yeah.
Like giant yellow blob. And in a way, I kind of like some aspects of this better than I do Majin Buu.
That's the thing. There's a lot. It's kind of more full tilt like wackiness that we kind of hinted at with Majin Buu.
Don't get me wrong, Buu is great. Don't get me wrong.
It's Buu without the sweet tooth.
Yeah, and he's still dangerous, but definitely not played for as much horror as Buu was.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So we should also mention, we have this I melted for. Love me some Gohan and Videl stuff. So we had Great Saiyaman
1 and 2.
Well, no. The 2 that's later. Right now, she's like, this is before she does that.
All right.
No, but I'm with you. I mean, I love that. I love that as well. But that's also great. But this is still when he's just the Great Saiyaman, and she's like, in the action, and she's like cheering Gohan on in a really sweet way. Like, he's doing like the full Ginyu Force, just kind of like, Gohan, son of Goku. I think he's doing this like the Frieza or somebody. He takes out Frieza with like the one punch, which is awesome.
Yep. And that is one of the missed opportunity I was talking about. Like the villains from this series, we don't get to see again, even though they appear on the poster, but we don't actually see them. Like Cooler is literally on the poster you can see here, but he's not in the movie at all.
Yeah, it's a shame that we didn't have like Cell really going up against Gohan again. That would have been really awesome.
Yeah.
But then would have been Gohan's movie, and it's not Gohan's movie.
They could have split it though, but instead we
could have cut some Hitler scenes in exchange for Cell or Frieza.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Instead we got like 15 minutes of Trunks and Goten fighting Hitler.
Yeah. We went really heavy on the Hitler stuff. It's not so much the Hitler stuff's bad; it's gag manga humor, but just the fact that we had all these villains, like this whole platter of talent to pick from.
And they go with Trunks and Goten being the weakest parts of the movie again.
Yeah.
Fighting Hitler.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, that part could have easily been cut, or at least trimmed down.
It is really funny though.
It did get a good joke when he transformed. It's like blonde hair, blue eyes. Maybe I should be recruiting him.
I love that.
I mean,
I love that joke.
I mean, if it was just that would have been fine.
Yeah.
But fortunately, they
don't need the fuse to take down Hitler. Come on, man. Hitler sucks. You can easily take down Hitler. Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It just seemed kind of out of place compared to the rest of the movie.
Anyway, so again, I love the whole Great Saiyaman thing, and Videl's like clapping and like, "Oh, Gohan!" He's really complimentary towards him. Later on, like the boys are teasing Gohan over like, "We saw what you two were doing." Like, well, wait, like, kissy face. Videl's getting all embarrassed. I think we set up to her like, Videl. This is adorable bit with Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi desperately wants to marry Gohan off to Videl, and she's, which is adorable. Then Videl gets flustered by this, and she breaks the dish. One broken dish per guest, and then she ends up breaking a whole bunch of dishes, and it's funny.
Yeah, Chi-Chi definitely probably the fact that Videl is rich. Probably is another reason why she wants to marry Wants to Gohan to marry her.
Well, that's true, but I think also, I mean, she can see writing on the wall there. She sees like, oh yeah, these two kids are made for each other.
It's like they have it bad.
Yeah.
As
if only she saw how they met.
Yep, face first.
Yep. Well, kind of. Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm not
Yeah.
really good. We went over that when we did the Babidi saga.
Okay. The point being, they use the Dragon Balls. They summon the dragon, but the dragon is no help because if he got rid of them all, there's no barrier. They just move them, and then we have
and then they'd come back.
we have the gag too, like the dragon. Does anyone have any wishes? Like at the very end of the movie, the dragon still.
He's like at the end. He's like, so is anybody gonna make a wish or what?
Again, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes, at least in the non-canon setting, the dragon can be only in the movies is the dragon that patient. If you really look at it,
he's like, so, and I love how like after he reveals that he's like kind of has like the sweat. He's like the sweat drops, and he's like, does anybody want a wish? And then at the end, after the credits, everything's done. Like, so is anybody gonna make a wish or what? So like that's why I said I think they put a lot of effort into this movie.
Oh yes. Anyway, so speaking of the best part of the movie, though, so
part of the movie, yeah, go on. It brings in Vegeta.
Vegeta's entrance, my God! Again, second to the whole like no saying blood will be spilled. Like this is like Vegeta showing up, and it's the best part of the movie to me. There's a lot of great stuff in this movie, clearly. I think the best element, this is like one of the best examples of Sean Schemmel and Chris Sabat's performance and their history together. And like you get all of that in these really tender scenes between him and Vegeta, where Vegeta's upset and the whole like, you've got to keep your body, Kakarot, and like don't patronize me kind of stuff. Where like Goku's being really he's been really nice to Vegeta because he genuinely does miss his old rival, and he's like saying well, I'm more impressed you've kept up with your training despite not having a body. It's
oh yeah.
So just really, really nice, and really just like these little intimate moments where they're kind of catching their breath for a few minutes against this guy, and just kind of like in like the giant uncomfortable like pile of spikes in hell. It's still the needle in the haystack thing.
Yep. And so they decided the only way to defeat Janemba.
In his new form, he's transformed into much more scary, imposing. Again, very much like the nod to Boo, where he went from Fat Boo to kind of like skinny Boo.
Yep. And the only way to beat him, fusion.
Which I love the animation on Vegeta's reluctance in the where it's like you see him like almost look constipated, like
he's fine. Like he's like, but what? But you're already dead. He's like,
I love it. In that moment, you can see like, okay, that's Trunks' dad right there.
Yep. It's like fine, and then the fusion happens, and
Vegeta gets it wrong because he didn't extend his finger.
We're introduced to the most glorious one of all, Veku. And by glorious, I mean gloriously fat.
Yes, the fat Gogeta. Yes,
Veku.
I know the Kais were looking to what the name the guy, but he really ultimately was Gogeta. So isn't the whole time it Gogeta?
Yeah, but they call this version Veku.
Okay.
And so it's just basically fat Gogeta.
He's basically he's avoiding a lot of blows, so
And he's taking a lot of blows too, and just absorbing it because he's fat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very pathetic. Anyway, so eventually they separate, and then they go forward again. I like think about this. We build the movie called Fusion Reborn. We build to the successful fusion until the very end.
Yep.
And we get the actual Gogeta. So again, this is the separation. We've seen Vegito. Vegito is with the Potara earrings, and Vegeta's in control. And with Gogeta, this is like doing it the fusion dance way. Goku is much more in control here. So
So, and I gotta say, he has a really cool design.
Yeah. And we have like the built-in fusion vest look and everything, and of course, meanwhile, we have Gotenks kind of like, battling the forces of the Nazi evil.
Yep.
So ultimately, Gogeta, it's really cool battle. It's a brief but really sweet battle between Gogeta and Janempa. And then again, man, chef's kiss of an ending where Goku says goodbye to Vegeta, and it's like a really nice kind of almost a swan song between those two actors.
Because it basically kind of hits you that Vegeta's back because of the blurred lines.
Which again is like the fact that Vegeta did all this because he's regretful of his decisions and he cares about his family and everything.
And he's like, God, I should be the one faking you, Kakarot.
I love that. Again, that's what I'm talking about. Like Sabat and Schimmel's performance, man. There's like such like respect in the lines for each other, despite like Vegeta's annoyance, and also the great comedy of just Vegeta like just looking at Goku very with straight faces, like walking him through the fusion dance, and Vegeta's like, "Oh my, are you insane, Kakarot? I can't do that's ballet."
This is again. This is probably you were right. This probably is like the best Dragon Ball Z movie.
Yeah,
as like because I said it basically it can basically stand on its own merits, even if it is borrowing from the Buu saga.
Yeah. All right, so then we get the most original of the Dragon Ball Z movies. Again, kind of alongside Fusion Reborn. And this one is not pulling from anything.
Wrath of the Dragon.
So this was kind of not counting the next one we're going to talk about, which is kind of a more unique situation. This is this is essentially the last Dragon Ball Z movie we had until they rebranded, they came back.
Yeah, the last official Dragon Ball Z movie until Battle of Gods in quite a long time, 2013.
Yeah, so with the Wrath of the Dragon, I remember like picking this one up, but this was like more of like it was like in a Walmart, and I was like, oh my god, there's a new Dragon Ball movie. I never heard of it. It's like the lack of ceremony around this movie, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go watch this, and it was like the delight of like one more in the chamber kind of a thing.
Oh yeah.
So with this one, we have the Great Saiyaman, the Great Saiyagirl.
But in this case, they're called Superman, Saiyaman 1 and 2.
Yeah, not according to the Funko.
Well, that's just how they did in the dub, I guess.
No, I know, just in the dub for this. I'm saying specifically for this movie. They only appear in this movie and at the very end of the Buu saga. So,
which is just the cutest thing too.
I love it. I gave my buddy last year. I gave him for I think for his birthday. I gave him a Funko of the Great Saiyagirl.
I just love the fact that Videl's there so in on it too.
It's just adorable from where she started, and ultimately, like she's in the outfit, and she's so madly in love with Gohan. It's adorable.
It's so cute.
Anyway, so they're helping this random old guy named Hoi,
and in a scene that's kind of reminiscent, it kind of calls to The Incredibles a little bit.
Yep, you didn't save my life. You ruined my death.
Well, in this case, it's like I'm gonna jump, and then when he saves, like, why did you save me sooner? I should sue you.
Yeah, I love Videl just like basically talking him to go off the ledge. Like, why don't you just jump already? Just do it.
It's
just Videl just like having no patience for this kind of thing. Like, well, oh my god, he actually jumped. Thank goodness they can fly.
Yep.
All right, so basically, this guy Hoi, he wants to. He's doing all this just to get some attention because he wants the free Tapion from this little music box to stop an evil that is on its way. But it's all a trick.
Because inside Tapion is sealed Hirudegarn.
Or at least half of Hirudegarn.
Which is a very interesting name. I don't know if it means anything specific though.
Yeah, Hirudegarn actually made it to the Sparking Zero game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they acknowledged the movies in the Sparking Zero game. Pretty much, like Lord Slug made the cut. Cooler probably did. I don't remember, but a lot of like Turtles made it.
You said Sparking Zero?
Yeah, Sparking Zero. Yeah.
All right. A lot of GT stuff made it in there too.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Anyway, so point being, we release thanks to the Dragon Balls, we release Tapion, and Tapion
from the music box.
From the music box, and Tapion is this very cool stoic character. I think he is a highlight of the movie. Trunks kind of gets a mentor character, and this character is a lot like is a lot like Future Trunks, and Trunks is kind of like, it's kind of a nice cyclical thing here where he's getting kind of an inspiration, and the idea that his buddy Goten has an awesome older brother Gohan, who again traditionally Trunks looked up to because of the Future Trunks stuff. He kind of he loved Gohan.
Yeah.
And because Gohan was like around when Trunks was a baby, that kind of stuff. So they're buddies, but not really. It's not his brother though. So Tapion is kind of the surrogate brother figure that he always wanted, and he kind of gets past the tough exterior, and we learn Tapion he incurred a loss, his little brother.
It's kind of does kind of create an interesting parallel there.
Yeah, he lost his little brother, and in a sense, Trunks, they're kind of filling a hole in each other with that. And I think Bulma was very appreciative. She's trying to help poor Tapion, like find because basically Tapion, the guy's practically cursed. If he falls asleep, the monster gets released, so the man cannot sleep.
And he's half of the dragon Hirudegarn.
Yeah.
I forget if is he the top half or the bottom half?
I think he's the
top half.
I don't know. Did we see legs early in the movie?
Well, yeah, I think maybe he is the bottom half.
Yeah, I think he's the legs. I think we built up to the top half.
Yeah. So Bulma, like, who's actually pretty appreciative of Trunks having a friend, builds him like a bed, basically a room-sized music box.
Yeah, but it doesn't take, unfortunately.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And he transforms. So
ultimately, despite this, he also uses this pan flute kind of thing to basically, like vanquish the beast.
You mean the ocarina?
Yeah, the ocarina. I mean.
Yeah. I like the melody the ocarina plays.
Yeah.
It's quite nice.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah. Anyway, so the movie kind of starts to break down at a certain point when we finally release the monster and he gets both halves of himself, and despite his weakness, ultimately it kind of builds this really great dramatic moment where Trunks is given the sword, the iconic sword that Future Trunks has. Yeah. And he's told, like, you gotta kill me to stop this thing, kid. I know it's a hard choice, but I need you to do this. And it's a really sweet, intense moment. And then we make the mistake of, as cool as it is, seeing Goku turn Super Saiyan 3 and using the Dragon Fist attack. Which, by the way, you can do in the Kakarot game.
It comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere, and Goku he stole, like, Trunks and Tapion should have defeated this thing somehow.
Yeah.
But Goku just kind of stole everyone's thunder, and it's amazing because it's like it was the poster of the DVD and the movie and everything. It's like it's Goku, doing the Dragon Fist attack. We need to put it in there somewhere.
Yep.
I do want to. We kind of glazed over. Just one word for that. And there, Vegeta had a great entrance after, like, who destroyed my house?
Like, I was enjoying a nice day off, and then someone destroyed my house.
Yep, and he's saving people in the office building. Really, really cool.
Oh yeah.
Very nice. And Vegeta's come around, and he's a family man. It's like it's kind of it's Vegeta's get off my lawn moment. It's great. Yep. So, like I said, the movie kind of peters out at the end. Still pretty good, but no, it's no Fusion Reborn, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's close, but
Yeah.
All right, then we get to debatably, I think Fusion Reborn is the best Dragon Ball Z movie. This best Dragon Ball movie.
The Path to Power.
Yeah, this was great. This was something they did. According to Jacob, and from what I remember, it was kind of like something that was done for two reasons. One, kind of an anniversary of the was it the anime or the manga was the anniversary for?
I think it might have been the anime, but I didn't know.
Okay, the point being, it's kind of a celebration of Dragon Ball across the board, and also was the fact that at this point in time they had Dragon Ball GT. And they had updated, we had updated the model of Kid Goku, and it was kind of logic of like, okay, what if we're gonna? I think I would like to think, and I'm projecting at this point. I'd like to think at this point, like we've done all these movies, we're maybe at a juncture where we don't have to just do We don't just have to do a movie to sell people. Like people, Dragon Ball is a known, proven property at this point. Which basically, if you look at the films that came out, like I said, Phase One movies with Dragon Ball Z, those were again to kind of like made by Toei or somebody that was kind of designed to promote the brand, and that's why we were basically stealing from the plot lines and stuff that are from the anime, and basically just kind of the less interesting versions so people would try on the more interesting ones. But when we get to like the third phase, this is just like stuff that's like performing well. It's sequels, it's fan service, it's we're trying stuff, and so at that point, it's like we're just doing movies as kind of in celebration of what we've done here and what we can do. And it's like, okay, so we have the models for Dragon Ball GT, and if at this point we've, especially with the Dragon Ball movie specifically, we just basically readapted the anime again and again in kind of a movie format, and to varying degrees of success, usually not good. Curse the Blood Rubies and the Sleeping Princess, and the forgettable one where they kind of do the World Martial Arts Tournament, kind of the one Mercenary Tao.
Because they're the three movies were Curse of the Blood Rubies,
Yeah,
Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle, and
that's the one.
and Mystical Adventure. That's the one with Mercenary Tao.
Oh man, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, TN made the cut on the other. That's what that was. Oh yeah, yeah. Anyway, so the point being, those movies they always just kind of like they adapted the story and it's kind of a feature format, but they never quite never quite hit the mark or really brought something to the table. They never felt cinematic. They just felt like kind of a rehash. I want to say at this point in time, is okay, we've done kind of original stuff, or at least we've tried to do original stuff for the last couple movies. Now let's take what we've learned and kind of like I think we're kind of riding on our laurels at this point. Let's go back, let's do it again, and let's do it right, and kind of do it kind of for the anniversary. And we have like this new model of Goku, so there's kind of like people are thinking about GT, so Kid Goku is kind of in again. So let's do Dragon Ball proper with Path to Power. And I always loved this, and I thought it was like the definitive. Like if you're gonna again, it had that cinematic feel, which I feel is kind of what the whole point of the movies should have been. Let's kind of have Dragon Ball kind of feel bigger and better, and kind of like again, kind of like the Mask of the Phantasm approach. I'm not saying this replaces the show in any regard, obviously, but if you're gonna like condense the show into a movie, or at least condense like the kind of the premise of Dragon Ball into a movie and celebrate it, I think this is as good as you can get, at least for the time in which it was made. I thought they really nailed it.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, it's a little closer to the manga in elements, and so it was like something that we did not get from the animated show that we can't usually get from. That's what I'm saying. It felt different enough from the anime.
And they definitely, and they also upped the spectacle in a lot of the aspects too.
Yeah, we have our action, our animation. Again, it just has the scope of a feature. We're going to different locations. It just feels, it just feels like it was made for the big screen.
And it feels like a proper adventure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And plus, we gave Bulma the purple hair, which it bothered me when I saw it, but then when you realize, well, yeah, if they're trying to make it like the manga, you kind of,
In all honesty, Dragon, I'm gonna say it makes me wish she had the purple hair the entire time.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like if they went back in time and they gave her purple hair, I'm sure I'd still love her, but it's like I'm so used to the blue hair has been ingrained in me,
Like I know, but purple's one of my favorite colors. So it's like, so I'm just saying, like if I wish they had they actually had given her the purple hair from the very beginning of the anime.
Yeah.
Like all the way back in episode 1 of.
It would have made things easier for Trunks.
Yeah, because Trunks does have purple hair.
And then now he kind of has blue hair. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. But yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed this movie too. Like it doesn't, as you said, it doesn't really replace anything. It doesn't really replace the original series in any way. But it's a nice condensed version of it, where it combines the characters meeting with the Red Ribbon Army saga.
Yeah, which the Red Ribbon Army, pretty irredeemable. Basically, again, it's like, what if we took the Red Ribbon Army, which is much more intimidating than Emperor Pilaf, we slot them in, which again, to me, that these are again, so it's not just adapting verbatim, but it's kind of combining a few arcs and it's kind of putting them in places that make sense, you know?
Yep.
Roles that make sense versus like Curse of the Blood Rubies essentially did what this movie tries to do. We're basically doing the peel off saga again, but we're using an original villain that no one cares about. This is like, okay, we're still building on the mythology of the show, but we're adding we're adding elements that, in hindsight, if we could reshuffle things around, we might be able to, to kind of get a little something. Like, for example, we introduce Ader, and, Ader has a friendship with Goku, and instead of wishing for underwear, we wish for the life of Goku's friend back, which is also a little bit of like the Upa thing, Upa and Bora thing. So, it's, we're combining some good elements here.
Yep. Which is really nice.
Also, we limit Goku's power because Goku is not going through the tournament, and he's not, hasn't gone through the tournament. He hasn't been trained under Master Roshi, so it's kind of like we've limited Goku, which kind of adds to the stakes and adds to like, okay, it's kind of the exploration of Goku's potential, which is also pretty good.
And the ending kind of like does kind of backpedal him to an early Super Saiyan power up.
Yeah, which I mean, again, that's kind of pulling from deep within him. Like when he turns into Super Saiyan in the first place, it's because he's unleashing the inner spirit of the great ape form without having to transform into the great ape, which we hinted at in the again, not knowing they would go to Super Saiyan, but we hinted at a greater power in Goku stemming to the great ape when he killed Demon King Piccolo. So it's always kind of been there.
Yep.
So makes sense.
We don't get to see him turn into a giant ape in this movie, though.
Well, no, because there's not really any time for that. But I respect that we didn't have time to do everything, but we found a way of.
Does he do that in Curse of the Blood Rubies or any of the other two?
Yes, he does. In hold on, I don't remember if we ended up doing it because here's the thing: Curse of the Blood Rubies and was it? Let's see, it's Curse of the Blood Rubies.
Mystical Adventure is the third one, and Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle.
That's the thing. So, Devil's Castle probably not. There's one where we. I don't remember if we did in Curse of the Blood Rubies, but there is. I think Mystic Adventure is. We did in one of those where he basically there's this castle. Whichever one had the castle you just mentioned, that one.
All right.
I think we did it. There's one of the movies where basically he did turn into an ape in one of those movies, but it wasn't I don't think it was Curse of the Blood Rubies. It could have been, but if we did it, it was like we did it 2 times between those 4 movies, if that is the case.
So it's like so it would probably be in Curse of Blood Rubies or Mystical Adventure.
I mean, I don't know if it was Mystical Event. Is you say Mystical Adventure is the Mercenary Tout one, right?
Yes, that's also the one where they bring in the Dr. Slump ones.
That's the thing. I don't think it was that one. What was the second one?
Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle.
I think it was that one. I think that's the one where we. I'm pretty sure that's the one where we do the ape.
Because that's also the first one to bring in Krillin.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think that's where they did it. There's a chance they did it in both Curse of the Blood Rubies and that, but it's probably just the castle.
All right.
All right. Anyway. So the point being, so just Path to Power. I can't say enough nice things about it. We have Nadolny as Goku, which again, those other movies when we don't have Nadolny as Goku, it just feels off to me. It's not even like, as much as I hate to say, even like it's not like the same set voice that we had for like, it's not the Kai voice of Gohan that we recast with. It's not even that. It's like it's not a consistency. It's not it's Nadolny just kind of brought it, man, and it was just it had like the innocence and the charm. And basically when I saw that movie, it was like taking me back to the first time I saw a Dragon Ball, which is what that movie's kind of designed to be. It's kind of nostalgia and appreciation, but also if you had to sell somebody on the premise of Dragon Ball in one sitting, it would be that.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're. I definitely agree with that.
Yep.
So, yeah. I enjoyed this, and like I said, they really kind of upped. Like they actually made the Red Ribbon Army feel like a proper army here.
Yeah, admittedly, the designs of the Red Ribbon Army, that was the one. If I had one gripe, our designs on our redesigns and our revamps on the Red Ribbon Army characters in kind of the GT style or like kind of the hybrid of like the kind of the Toriyama designs and kind of a GT-esque style. It was I mean, I think they look a little off. Basically, they wanted to make. They tried making. I want to say they tried making Captain Black look a little less stereotypical, maybe.
Even though they did kind of give his old design to like Metallictron or whatever his name is.
That's the weird thing. So it's just kind of like it's a step forward, two step. I don't know.
So I was like when he came into that tower, I was like, wait, is that him?
Yeah. So I don't. So I'm saying that design was like a weird choice where it feels like we're trying to course correct, but it's like, I mean, guys, the damage has already kind of been. I don't. It's not one. It's barely damaged, but the damage that's been done. It's like I don't know. We're still having Chris Sabat do the voice of the characters. It feels like, I mean, yes, at this point, let's just let sleeping dogs lie. But regardless, I'm saying it's between him. I think General Blue is the one who suffered most in this movie, frankly, of all the adaptations of he made a very like a mercenary Tao killed this guy with his tongue. It was a very iconic death, and here it's like, you forgot a Dragon Ball, men shoot him. It's like,
Yeah.
He didn't do any cool stuff that General Blue. All he did was like punch Yamcha, which, I mean, anyone can do that. Even you could do that, Jacob.
Yep, I guess so.
Yeah, you could punch Yamcha and he'd fall over and like kind of like on his side, and we'd zoom out in kind of an effective way. And I was like, Yamcha. There'd be wearing armbands. What happened? Jacob punched him. Oh no.
Yeah.
Did he use the Wolfang fist?
No.
No.
He didn't get to it in time.
Yeah, he used the Irving punch. Anyway, the Irving special.
Oh God.
Yeah. Platypus pulverizer.
This sounds like a pulverized platypipe. Platypuses, platypeople. You
know what he means.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, so like I think we get the gist. That Path to Power. I mean, look, a gun to my head. If I had to rank these, I would probably say I think Path to Power is probably at the top. Then Fusion Reborn.
So Path to Power is still your favorite Dragon Ball movie?
I mean, ultimately, I think of the movies, I still think it did the job most. If you hold them shoulder to shoulder, in terms of like adapting material, Path to Power, did the assignment. In terms of say movie overall for Dragon Ball Z specifically, easily Fusion Reborn.
I did like some of the stuff Path to Power did, but. So as far I haven't seen any of the other Dragon Ball movies, so that one is the best by default.
I can just take my word for it. I mean, I haven't looked. I technically haven't seen all the Dragon Ball movies because you got to remember, for the longest time a lot of those were really more localized to Japan. Like the dub was harder to come by. Like Curse of the Blood Rubies, I saw that because that was the easy one to see, and if I tried really hard, I might have been able to find, the princess and the sleeping princess in the castle.
Sleeping Princess in Devil's Castle.
Crap. Princess. That's what I'm saying. I never saw the movie properly. In later years I've seen some of that movie, but because basically the Sleeping Princess isn't actually Sleeping Princess. It's kind of Launch, but it's kind of not Launch.
It's kind of like Sleeping Beauty.
Yes. No, that's the thing. It's basically there's a jewel called the Sleeping Princess, but Launch is after it. So de facto, it's basically Master Roshi assigning the boys to go get the Sleeping Princess, thinking it's a girl, but in reality, it's their jewel. But they end up bringing Launch back, so that's kind of the Sleeping Princess, and that's kind of them bringing back the girl from Master Roshi, like we have in the anime.
And there's also Lucifer in there too.
Well, yeah, yeah. So it's a lot of
So kind of interesting how that turns out.
I mean, it's interesting, but again, the fact is okay, it's not Nadomi as Goku. I'm out. I'm out.
I mean, keep in mind, she was like the fifth person to ever voice Kid Goku in English, but she's probably the best one.
Well, easily, yeah. So. And look, to be fair, okay, somehow as a kid on the DVD set, I had like the Pilaf saga, but it was like the censored version of it was like one of the, I don't know if it's the Ocean dub of the Pilaf. It was like the one dub that did not have Nadomi Goku. And I was when you're starting to pick up on the differences as a kid. Like something's off here, but I don't know. But it's still Goku, so I'm associating it with being Dragon Ball. But it's not the version like I taped on VHS tape when it was on Toonami.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Alrighty then.
anyway, so I'm apologies, I think I'm getting boring.
No, you're fine.
Anyway, yeah, so the point being, I don't know, is fundamentally it's just that thing. I mean, the Dolny is that's my Goku, man.
Kid, there are two Gokus.
Yeah.
Well, three, technically, for us.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sean Schemmel, Stephanie Nadolny, and of course the original Masako Nozawa.
Yeah.
Like, even though Dragon and I do prefer English, we can't diminish the fact that she's voiced basically voiced Goku and every male member of his family since the beginning.
That's a busy lady.
That she is.
Yep.
And she's been doing it for almost 40 years.
She's in her 90s.
Yep, she's been doing it for almost 40 years.
She's still doing it.
Yep.
Nice.
She's 89 years old.
Oh, really? I thought she was in her 90s.
Well, she'll be 90 in October.
There you go.
But can you believe it? She's been voicing Goku since the beginning.
Yeah, I can't. It's crazy.
Yep. So we can't not give her credit.
So the point being, I think we had even though these are not necessarily as strong as the arcs that we've talked about from the show. I think we've had some. How has your experience been going through all these?
Like I said, there were definitely some parts where I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. Then there's some parts where I was like very tempted to hit fast forward, to hit the skip 10 seconds button.
Yeah.
So, like I said, so they did. A lot of them definitely have their moments, and the ones that, like I said, Fusion Reborn was probably, probably my personal favorite of the bunch. I mean, and Path to Power I really like too.
Agreed.
And like I said, it makes me wish that that Bulma had purple hair the entire time, but
yeah,
that's kind of a moot point at this juncture.
Yep.
So, but I had a pretty decent time with that. So, but wait a minute, Dragon, I kind of wish there was more to do. I kind of wish we had more Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. But we've covered all of Dragon Ball Z. I mean, there's nothing really to talk about. I mean, it's not like we can, we don't have the real estate to find
like
all 7 Dragon Balls. I mean,
we just used them last time to wish for these.
I know we can't use them again. They need time to recharge, man. I mean, I don't know what the Jacob.
Huh?
I think I found something.
Like, what are they? What are they?
You are not going to believe. Let me pull up a little tarp here, Jacob. It looks like all 7 Dragon Balls all in one place.
Oh, well, go for it then. Dragon wish for more.
Okay. Okay. We can't use the same phrasing, but let me think of something here. Okay. Shenron, Eternal Dragon. We summon you. We have a wish.
Dragon, wait a second.
What?
Those balls, the stars are black.
Well, I haven't made the wish yet.
I know, but
it'll be fine. All right, come on, black stuff. Come on. All right, okay. Shenron, we wish.
State your wish.
Okay, Eternal Dragon. We want to know what happens. We want to see more Dragon Ball in the future. The near future, we want to see more Dragon Ball in the near future, what the future has in store for Dragon Ball. There we go.
Your wish is granted. Goku's adventures shall continue.
Jacob, I'm feeling an ominous feeling right now. I think maybe I don't know if it's my wording of that wish or it's the black stars you were talking about, but something feels. Oh boy, I got a bad feeling.
Well, we'll see, Dragon, won't we?
I guess so.
So, closing thoughts, Dragon?
Well, my closing thoughts. They can't all be winners, folks. When I look back on them, a lot of movies were it was very nostalgic looking back at all these movies, and kind of admittedly some of them we were sitting through, but again the highs are still pretty high, man. Fusion Reborn, Path to Power, Wrath of the Dragon, still a lot of good memories there.
It's like they found their stride near the end, at least.
I mean, the important thing is that even a movie wasn't good, you had those cinematic moments, like Dead Zone in general. Goku and Vegeta facing that army of coolers. Broly. There's moments.
And they had good ideas.
Yeah.
Which to be fair, they later did kind of appropriate for like some things like Super and some of the other movies as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, the slice of life stuff in Super Android 13.
Yep. All right. And like I said, I enjoyed myself too, and I will say, I'm probably not going to be visiting a lot of these anytime soon.
Nope.
All right. So, while the end credits roll on Goku's big screen exploits, Goku's future continues. Adventures remain unfinished. Join us next time as we continue our journey into Dragon Ball GT. Who knows what's in store there, right, Dragon?
Is it over? Not until the fish jumps. It's over.